What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the You Know Ball podcast. I am your host, Trill Bro Dude, and once again, we are returning with a You Know Ball classic, one that has been highly requested. We had a infamous Star in Plain Sight draft 2 years ago. We have not done one since. We need to make this an annual tradition, to be honest.
I'm going to be honest. I think the reason Trill didn't do it last year is he was scared of how bad I beat his ass at it last time.
It was probably a combination of the fact that you were so good at it and I was so bad at it. And then also just that it is hard to come up with a list of 10 to 15 new names every year because we get all of them correct. And then we have to wait 2 years to do this exercise again. But we can revisit the old draft if you would like. I went back and I dove into it earlier.
I don't want to make you live through your pain again, but if you're like that much of a pain piggy, you can go ahead and read them off and everyone can.
I was going to say, I know
that I did it.
Yeah. I hate to do victory laps for Sam on the podcast, but this is from our 2023 Star Hiding in Plain Sight draft. Now keep in mind, this exercise is something that is a little bit harder than you think because we don't draft players who are very clear future stars. We don't draft players who are already starters. Generally speaking, sometimes, they're fringe starters or whatever. We also don't draft guys that, are top draft picks. So it's a little bit of a tough exercise. Anyway, with the first pick, Sam took AJ Griffin, who is not in the NBA anymore. Number 1 overall. Second pick, I took Trey Murphy, who at the time, I don't think that was it. I literally said on the podcast that Trey was someone who is not obviously a future star, and people talked about him as a starter wing, but I don't think people ever talked about him in the way that they talk about him now, which is that he could make all-star teams and something like that. So I'll say that's a pretty good one. Sam with the next pick took Josh Green.
Bang.
Another one.
Right. Keep for those of you keeping score at home. That's me too. Trill 1/2.
0.5 for me.
Yeah.
And then the next one, I do just want to say we recorded this on August 3rd, 2023. So this was a few weeks before we learned some information about this person. I took Kevin Porter Jr. And that was, I believe, 2 to 3 weeks before he was arrested for alleged domestic violence. I might have literally been confirmed, but just for legal reasons, let's say alleged. So that one obviously did not age very well. The next one, another W for Sam here. Paul Reed of the Philadelphia 76ers.
Still in the league, though.
Still in the league, still got a contract from the Pistons.
He's probably not a star. He's a guy who's it starts getting hard here. You start running out of stars to take. So here, I just get a guy who's a high level starter.
Yeah.
A guy who's going to a $30 million a year guy here.
Exactly. Yeah. I was going to say,
Derek Lively, Paul Reed, those type of guys,
maybe not a star in name, but a star in impact. People would agree that Paul Reed is in that class of
nerds know about Paul Reed. They know
exactly.
For example, when Paul Reed is a pretty big part of the Devin Booker trade package, people are going to be like, what? Paul Reed? Yeah. And then, real nerds,
they had to include them.
Yeah. Real nerds will be like, hey, just wait on it. Paul Reed's coming,
I can't believe they had to include non-binary Paul Reed. Did not mean to say. I meant to say.
Well, okay. Dropping the bit for a second. He does have, I think, the great. This is a very competitive category. I think he has the greatest NBA player tweet of all time. In that 911, the one about 2 girls fighting 911. What's your emergency? 2 girls fighting over me. What's the emergency, sir? The ugly one winning. Incredible tweet. So good. That's good comedy. I think that's Kevin Durant obviously has a plethora of great tweets. There's I'm Trying Jennifer, but that one is really up there.
Teenage Paul Reed really did peak, I would say. But Paul Reed, when he was 14, was just churning out banger after banger, especially live from math class. He literally tweeted multiple times he was in math when he was tweeting this, which makes me respect him even more.
Yeah, that's good.
Next, my first big hit, I would say, Cole Anthony.
You stole from me?
I went back and I listened, and Sam was upset that I took Cole Anthony, who is literally just waived.
I wasn't upset
a few
about
weeks ago.
I wasn't upset about Trey Murphy when you got Trey Murphy at 2.
You weren't fully a Trey Murphy guy yet. No, I think that we were. I think we both liked Trey Murphy, but you were like, yeah, I thought about taking him, but we discussed it because if you go back and you look at his numbers from that year, it was only 2 years into his career, so he still wasn't even a starter yet.
Yeah.
So I think that next year was when you started to push the Trey Murphy propaganda. But the Cole Anthony one, you were very upset because that's your guy.
That's my guy.
Speaking of your guys, Corey Kispert was your next pick. I tried to talk you out of this one, but you were.
I did go back to listen to this one. I was literally laughing when I was making the pick. So
okay, but you can't act like you weren't like maybe you.
Maybe he is a wing. He is a wing in the NBA.
Certainly has a lot of wing skills.
I'm just saying, like. You'd be surprised how quickly you get to Corey Kispert when you run down the list of NBA wings. He is like a top 50 NBA wing.
50. Okay.
Yeah.
How many wings are there?
It's at least 60 in the NBA that start.
He's in the top.
He's a starter.
Yeah, 70th percentile.
Yeah.
No, not even. That was horrible math by me. It was the opposite. Anyway, let's continue. We actually get to kill you live on air for that one, by the way. I said in 2 years. During this portion, I said in 2 years, if Corey Kispert is not in the All-Star conversation, I get to kill you on podcast. So
okay, well, I had a good run.
So
I got to see my niece get bored. We did what we had to do there.
We take the W's where we can.
Yeah.
Another YKB favorite went with the next pick, Devin Vassell by me. Has not panned out. Şengün was your pick next, which is probably the biggest hit on this whole list. We debated whether Şengün was too good.
Yeah, he probably was too good at this point, to be honest. And that's why I took him. That's why I was able to get him so late. I feel like if you knew he was on the board, you probably would have drafted him earlier.
We discussed this a little bit where we said, is he too good? But I allowed it because my argument was, I think people see Şengün as someone who doesn't have a ton of upside, and I disagree with that. And my thing was I think he can be an all-NBA player, so I'm going to allow you to do this because I think even the people that were relatively optimistic outside of Rockets fans back then on Şengün were he might be a fringe all-star, where I was no, I think that you're right in this regard that you can take him because I think that he has as I've said, I think he has top 15 or 20 player upside in the NBA. He's still young somehow. Yep. I mean, this was 2 years ago and he was 20. I think he was 20 at the time. And now he's 22 or 23. So, all right. The next pick I took was Jaden McDaniels. I mean, Jaden McDaniels has still got time, but his offense hasn't developed nearly as much as I thought it would. He's been good in the playoffs though, so there's at least that. And then the infamous pick that someone pointed out earlier today. This is called the Davion Mitchell star hiding in plain sight draft because Sam took at the time 25-year-old Davion Mitchell in this, which I pushed back on and said no, he was too old and too small. And as people pointed out, that was probably one of your better picks in this whole thing. It was a completely vibes-based pick.
I'd argue that's a better pick than Devin Vassell.
You're still wrong.
All right. We'll be back in 2 years. We'll be back in 2 years.
I don't care to debate it, but Davion Mitchell's 27. Here's the thing. Davion Mitchell had a nice little run for the Heat this past I've seen this many times with Heat players, and I'm just saying let's stay tuned. Let's see what happens with Davion Mitchell over the next few years. And then my last pick, I actually thought this was a good vibes-based pick. I picked Quentin Grimes with my last pick. And he was at the time a 20-minute a game bench player. So
yeah, that's a great pick.
Considering how well he just played this past year, and he's still 24 going on 25, there's a world where he makes an all-star team. I don't think it's likely, but I think that there's a world where he maybe has a hot shooting season and has a, at least is in the all-star conversation, whether it's with the Sixers or another team moving forward. I don't think it's impossible. So let's just run down the rules though on this. It's a very hard exercise. Once again, people don't understand because we were like, you can't pick just to let you know what the cutoff was for the last one. We kind of stretched the rules to include guys like Trey Murphy and Şengün and even Jaden McDaniels. We decided someone like that year, we decided someone like Anthony Simons was even too good to include because he had already averaged over 20 points a game. So if someone's averaged over 20 points a game, if someone was a high pick, I said top 5 pick in the draft, or someone projects to be a future star, like Brandon Miller, even like that level of guy.
Yeah.
We're not going to include him in this. Amen Thompson.
I'm not allowed to draft Trey Johnson, even though he was the 6th pick in this draft.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, if they were just drafted, it's also harder to kind of say because we haven't seen them play in the NBA. Maybe they're instantly stars in the NBA. It's really hard to say. But the other thing that I want to point out here is if you look back from 2 years ago, there are a few guys who have made real leaps from then. I would say the guy that I probably think that we missed from 2 years ago, and I'm surprised you didn't take him, is Jalen Johnson. Because Jalen Johnson,
surprised I didn't either. I was kind of high on him.
You liked him because you had just played them in the playoffs, and he played well. And I remember you saying, and I kind of laughed off, like, all right, Jalen Johnson's not that good. And then he's really been good the last 2 years and could potentially be an all-star in this upcoming season. So I thought that was one that we missed. I'm sure there were a few other guys that I'm kind of not thinking of right now that could have qualified for the star in plain sight. But for my rules on this was no clear future stars, no super high draft picks, no guys who have already had an insane stretch like Quentin Grimes this past year. I think Cam Thomas would also fall into that. He's someone who has already averaged over 20 points a game.
Jared McCain
wouldn't count. Yeah. Guys that have had like runs where you're like, wow, this guy might be a future star. I don't think that you can put them into this because it is, we just have to be stricter with the rules when we're coming up with this. And then there will be a few guys that are debatable where we might have a guy that you think is borderline and we can discuss whether they qualify or not. But would you like to go first or do you want me to go first?
I will let you go first because I know exactly who you're going to pick. So
I don't think you do unless you took my list that I sent you. Cause I sent Sam a list of players since this episode kind of popped up on us. Mm-hmm. I'm actually going to go with someone. It was on the list, but I'm not sure if it's who you think it is. I'm going to take not Nikola Jokic, but Nikola Jovic of the Miami Heat.
Number 1. Okay. I don't necessarily disagree, but I'm a little surprised you went this way.
So the reason why I chose him this high is 1, I wanted to be a little bit spicy. I didn't want to take the obvious guys who we will discuss throughout this exercise. 2, we've talked about it time and time again when it comes to how much easier it is to be a star forward or wing compared to a star guard or big. Like, there are just less of them. There are very few guys in the NBA that have a combination of skills that he has, which is like he's an above average shooter. He's someone who's really good at finishing around the rim. He has plus positional size and he is a decent passer. Now the defense leaves a lot to be desired, and that's always been the thing with him. But offensively, I think he's still 22 years old. He's playing for a Miami Heat team that I think needs guys like him to really pop over the next few years.
He's going to get a lot of opportunity over the next. The Andrew Wiggins is gone. Right?
No, Andrew Wiggins is still on the Miami Heat. What are you talking about?
I thought didn't they just trade him? Or am I making that
to
up?
What team? What team do you think Andrew Wiggins is on?
Or no, maybe I was thinking about like a Jonathan Kuminga. Maybe I saw a Jonathan Kuminga package or something. I thought he was gone. Okay, well, never mind.
No, Andrew Wiggins is still on the Heat.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Last I checked, unless he was traded since we started recording this podcast, I believe Andrew Wiggins is still on the Miami Heat. But either way, it doesn't. Once again, the most important thing I would say, if you're talking about the Heat wings, especially the young guys on this team, that we know of, Jovic has not slept with anyone's wife or ex-wife on the coaching staff, which is an important thing here, I think, for potentially getting opportunities over the next year or two. I think that the thing with him is that he's kind of been, Spo has certain guys like him and Ware that like they just have short leashes. Like he doesn't necessarily trust them, but he's going into what will now be a contract year. He's one of the rare guys from that draft that was selected in the 20s. It's actually been somewhat productive in the NBA so far. And in the 468 minutes without Bam Adebayo this year, he averaged 16.8 points. This was per 75 possessions, so about an average game. 16.8 points, 4.8 assists, 5.2 rebounds on 60 true shooting, 68% at the rim, 38% from three, 68% at the rim. So efficient scoring, well-rounded. The scoring volume is actually pretty decent to get 17 points per 75, which is also kind of similar to his averages per 75 anyway. And he's a passable rebounder for his position. He's a good passer for his position. And I think that, as you said, Miami is good at developing these guys. Like Miami has kind of coasted on the fact that they have the best coach and the best development staff in the NBA for quite some time, which is why they can get away with, some of the things that they get away with in terms of basically always having a few bad guys with bad contracts on the books, and they can overcome that. So I think that Jovic is the guy that I'm going to take here, just because I felt like he was someone that never gets discussed in these conversations. I feel like everyone else we will discuss probably will have at some point had this star label thrown on top of them. And I think that, as I've said before, most wings and forwards suck when they're 21, and he was remotely productive and continues to get slightly better every single year in the NBA.
Yeah, I think he's I had him kind of near the top-ish of my list. I obviously don't want to pick a Miami Heat guy very often, but again, I think wings, we've talked about this ad nauseum. Wings, I think, are the best bet to hit in these type of drive, because you just the barrier to entry is so much. Andrew Wiggins has been an all-star. Like, now given that was like a little bit Mickey Mouse with like some of the voting stuff and like what was going on, but like still, like, the guys, wings make the all-star team all the time that don't really deserve to make the all-star team. So like, I think betting on one of these guys, especially like a guy who, Miami's kind of stuck between the Tyler Hero and the Bam Adebayo contracts, like, here going forward. Like, I think,
well,
one way or another,
they haven't signed the second Tyler Hero contract, which I don't know if they should or not. I mean, if he's getting what De'Aaron Fox just got, then absolutely not. But I'm assuming that's what he wants, right?
Let's see. Am I going crazy? Didn't they like just re-sign him not that long ago? Like
2
years ago?
What are you talking about, dude?
I thought. Why am I confused on this? So what didn't they? I thought it was 2 years ago, because wasn't it the Dame contract year that he was first year coming off that with that big contract?
You're not wrong in that about 2.5 years ago he did. He's up for an extension on that because he didn't take the full 5 years. He took a 4-year deal because it wasn't the max. Like he took like a 4-1-20 deal or whatever it was, which looked very bad for an amount of time. And then he kind of justified it this past year. We'll see if that sustains itself, but he is extension eligible coming up. Like he has, I think he has 2 years left on the deal. I could be wrong on that, but I think he has 2 years left on the deal. But yeah, he was 2019 draft class. So he was 2.5 years ago, I think, that he signed that extension. But either way, the Bam contract, he already got that. And Jovic is now extension eligible. They need to have some of these guys hit. Like where needs to hit for them. I think Jaquez is ultimately just a bench player.
Yeah, I think he's just a guy. I don't think he's anything special.
And it's possible Jovic is just a guy too, but that's why we do this exercise.
Sure. I think given the constraints of I think it's a legitimate pick. I had him somewhere in my top four for guys I was thinking about for this. So, all right, I'll get one of the boring ones out of the way then. I'll just take Santi, who I thought you were going to take number 1 overall. Like,
I didn't want to take Santi because I've been kind of branded as the Santi guy.
Yes.
Which honestly, Will was on Santi before I was on Santi. If anything, I might have overrated Santi a little bit, but during this exercise, I did find that I still think he's one of the better bets to make a leap and become a star. The problem with this is that he's a 4 that is on the same team as Jaren Jackson Jr. Like,
I'd say he's better at being a 4 than Jaren Jackson Jr. is at being a 4, though. Like, I think Jaren Jackson Jr. is a center who doesn't rebound. So, and that's the issue, is why you have to play him at the 4. I don't think Jaren
defensively he's so good at the 4.
That's just not playing center. You know what I'm saying? Like he would be good on defense. Like, that's just like the default setting, like where you put like big guys. Like Robert Williams was awesome when he played with another center. What does that like really mean? You know, like in terms of like,
well, I mean, Robert Williams couldn't shoot. Jaren Jackson Jr. could shoot.
Shoot like 32% from 3. Like, I don't know.
He's like a 34, 35% guy. I mean, not great for a 4, but he's a passable 3-point shooter.
I think people kind of I think he needs to figure out the rebounding. I think that Jaren Jackson Jr.'s ultimate future is the Anthony Davis shit again. Like, the sooner you get this figured out and you just play him at center and let other guys, like he got his big contract. Like, why are we still pretending like he's got to be a 4? I don't ever see the Grizzlies being a good team with him playing the 4. It fucks up the spacing too bad. Like, you can't really win like that in the NBA unless every other person on the roster is built around getting Jaren Jackson Jr. to play at the 4. I think Santi Aldama is a much more flexible option there. He's a much more someone who fits a lot better at the 4. And he's a guy who's like, really, I don't think people understand. Santi Aldama's played 1,600 minutes the last 3 seasons. Like, it's not like he's like an unproven guy. He's been around there and his numbers have gotten better every single year. He's got a really strong assist rate for his position. Doesn't turn the ball over. I think he's got a lower turnover rate than his steals and block rate combined, which is always a good sign. Doesn't foul. I think he's under 2 per 36 minutes. He doesn't really get to the free throw line, which I think is probably the biggest barrier. Like, he's not like a rim pressure guy, which
that's the issue with both Jovic and Santi, is that neither of them are like high level free throw guys, but also sometimes that is a product of players not having the ball as much. But you are correct, because if you look at his stats without the stars on the Grizzlies, it doesn't go up as much as you would like it. Like, for example, his stats without I took him during, I mentioned him during our first time All-Star episode that we did on Saturday Slam and Jam, and I got pushback from people, and I was like, I mean, I understand why he might not even start for them next year if they're planning on starting Edey and JJJ. I think it would be really cool if they just said, fuck it, we're not winning a title next year. Let's just go jumbo mode and put Santi at the 3. Like, I think that would be awesome if they did that, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think they want to have someone who's a little bit more defensively tilted at that position. But I looked up his numbers without Ja on the court last year. And now Ja is still on the team, obviously, but he's not the most reliable player in the NBA. And he averaged, per 75, he averaged 19 points, 4.4 assists, 9 rebounds, only turned the ball over 1.6 times, 60% true shooting, 38.8% from 3, and 74% at the rim. Those are borderline all-star numbers. Now, will he get the opportunity with the Grizzlies? Does it have to come on another team? Maybe. He's still only 24. Like, he doesn't turn 25 until January. Even if he doesn't get the chance this year, I don't think it's the end of this. Some of these guys, when they're 26, they get to a new team, a new opportunity. They're 26 and they can, make a leap. I don't think it's completely out of the question. Like, I am not a betting man. I'm not a gambling man at all. But if I've said, I think that he should be on the short list for most improved player next year, because they lost Desmond Bane. They're going to need someone to take more shots. And it's possible that if the Grizzlies are good next year, it's because a few of their younger guys take steps, and he's included in that. Yeah,
I think he's the obvious beneficiary. Like, I you know, like, look, I don't think the creation and some of that stuff, like, it's probably wish casting to think he's ever going to be like a, you know, a super assists guy. Like, he's very much a, like, make the next read type of,
he's a connector.
you know, he's a connector. He's not like a, you know, he's not a shot creator. Like, and that's like the biggest barrier for him and for a lot of these guys. I do think that we are getting to a certain level of in the new GM ball phase where guys like, you know, who are Derek White's more of a creator than him, but like Derek White got some all-star buzz. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can be like a turbo role player, and if your team does really well, you have a shot at making the all-star game.
I was going to say,
like,
I look at most of the guys that we're drafting here as like, it doesn't necessarily mean they get like an all-star or an all-NBA. I look at it more as like, can these players become high impact players on good teams? And I think both of these guys could. And there's also a world where they have their shot gets much better, or they get more on ball opportunities and show that they can, you know, be playmakers that ultimately end up, you know, making that leap from like solid role player to, you know, fringe star or star.
Yeah. And it almost kind of feels like cheating, because I think Santi's like, honestly, almost already there. It's very close to that.
He's not a starter yet. And I know that is team, like he would start on the Sixers, for example. And there are a few teams that just need fours that he would definitely start on. And that might be just because he's playing behind one of the 30 best players in the NBA for wherever you put Jaren Jackson Jr. That might be the case. But also that's kind of the guys that we're picking from here, like the guys that have just not gotten the chance to show what their potential is in the NBA. So, all right. So you went with Santi, which I think is probably one of the, you know what? I'm going to go with someone who's also on the Grizzlies.
No,
it's not my long shot. My long shot I'll save for later because it is kind of ridiculous. Even if I think there's a chance. I'm going to go with Demon Zach Edey.
Oh, okay. That's not what I thought you were going to do. Okay. I like kind of forgot about Edey. I'm going to be honest, but.
Well, that's the thing, is that I feel like Edey has to be included in here because it feels like everyone just kind of hates Edey. It feels like, like there's really no way around it. Like everyone just kind of thinks Edey's a loser because he plays very old school style basketball. And we've talked about this before, where it's like the coolest thing you can be is like 6 foot and really good at basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're 7'4" and really good at basketball, it's like, yeah, of course. Sure. Yeah. You should be. You don't deserve anything.
What scared me off this is I have a lot of Grizzlies fans that I'm mutuals with on the timeline, and they like up and down in lockstep, like despise Zach Edey, which I always, one of my default settings is usually like, unless they're being like ridiculous or they're Raptors fans, trust what they're seeing with their eyes, usually like what a fan base that like watches all the games sees. And I do believe that there's probably some, because the other thing is you like, then I would go to like Zach Edey's box score and it's like 20-8 in like 22 minutes, you know, like, yeah.
I mean, there's a chance that Edey is just what we thought he was going to be, which is like a, you know, a Jonas Valanciunas type, like where it's just like, you know, he's like probably good enough to start on some teams, but not a lot of teams. And he is a little bit older. Like he was not a young rookie by any means. So, but the fact that he came in and was like legitimately productive as a rookie, even with all of the concerns about the defense and everything we've talked about forever, this kind of blew my mind. Owen Phillips talked about this at the end of the season this year, where the Grizzlies started to run more pick and rolls, because remember early in the season, before when they had Taylor Jenkins, they were running this style where they were like an egalitarian, like all these moving pieces, and everyone was like having to like move off the ball and be connective, and it was really helping their offense. And then teams caught up to it and it kind of fell off. Edey was the one guy that I was like, I don't know how he's going to fit in this offense at all. Like it just, he doesn't make sense for a motion offense. Like if you have Zach Edey and Ja Morant as 2 of your 4 or 5 best players, you should run pick and roll. Like that's
spam pick and roll. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's ultimately going to be what is what determines your ceiling. And they actually, funny enough, they sneaky, one of the reasons why I really like Edey this upcoming season, they have someone who can run pick and roll with him at all times now. Like, they have Ja, they have Ty Jerome, who they just signed in free agency.
Forgot about Ty Jerome, yeah.
They have Scottie Pippen Jr., who runs pick and roll. Like, they have guys who can set up Edey, and they started to trend this direction last year. And shout out to Finn Draft on Twitter, who posted this, because he did, this was incredible. Do you want to guess what Zach Edey's true shooting was as the roll man last year?
I know it's going to be higher than this, but I would have guessed like 69%.
78.3%. One point. It's a small sample, only 57 possessions, but 1.46 points per possession. 1.08 on putbacks last year. He also averaged 1.05 on post-ups, 1.07 on spot ups. He was pretty much an efficient scorer in every possible way except for transition, because actually he was effective in transition. He just didn't do it often because he's massive. 1.19. It's actually very, so he is and this is also one of the things that we liked about him pre-draft, was that in his last year in college, he showed a little bit more range, where he was like, not only was he hitting those little floaters, but he had like more of an elbow jumper. His free throw percentage got better. And in his first year, he hit some threes. Like, there's a world where Zach Edey can be like an average 3-point shooter on lowish volume. The release valve 3-point shooting that we talk about with guys like Marc Gasol, and not guys that are like going to shoot Miles Turner level of volume from 3 or mid-range, but someone who could just hit a shot that, you know, is the end of shot clock possession style thing. So I think there's a world where Edey becomes like a multi-level scorer. He also was terrible from that range last year, the floater range, which is where he succeeded in college. So that might have just been an outlier. And if that's an outlier, then you're looking at a guy who has potential to be like a legit 3-level scorer that can score on and off the ball and is already instantly one of the best rebounders in the NBA. So like, I don't think that you can completely count out Zach Edey just getting like incrementally better from floater range, incrementally better as a passer, and then make him into like 2 years from now making an all-star team.
I'm with you. I would love that, because you and I would feast on the Edey propaganda from the 2024 draft. That was our guy. That was our guy.
That's why I felt like he had to be brought up here, because I want to reestablish, like, I do think Zach Edey is going to be a good NBA player. I just don't know what the ceiling for him necessarily is. And everyone gives him shit because when it looks bad, it looks really bad. We talked about it. It's the Rudy Gobert thing, where it's like, oh my God, does this guy? Because when you're massive, it's gonna he looks like a klutz sometimes, and it looks ugly, and there are stretches where he's gonna get roasted. But ultimately, when you're 7'4" with touch and the scoring ability that he has and the rebounding ability he has, it's hard for me to not see him being at least a 5 to 6 year starter in the NBA, if not better. So
I think it's a good call. Look, I still believe in like Zach Edey, and like for a lot of the same reason. The only thing that like alarms me is I'm not like, I'm going to keep it a buck. I didn't watch like a ton of Grizzlies games this year, and just the universal negativity I saw from like Grizzlies fans kind of gave me pause. But
I look, they would know more than me. They've obviously watched more than me. I also find that fan bases get really upset with young players when they like the idea of what the Grizzlies were supposed to be was Ja, Bane, and JJJ.
Yeah, right.
And Edey was a disruption to that force. Yeah. And I see it all the time when it comes to fan bases that are having to adjust to a new reality, where the front office clearly now, whether that's a good decision or not, we'll learn in time. But they clearly chose whether Edey's in their future or not, they clearly chose that they want to build around just Jaren Jackson Jr. And I actually think if you're going to play Jaren Jackson Jr. at the 4, Edey's a pretty good fit with him, because he is an elite rebounder.
Yeah.
He's going to set great screens, And like, I think that he covers up for, they both cover up for each other's issues. That's why they were good in their minutes last year together.
No, it's a front court that like makes sense, you know. Like I just think that like
it's a massive front court.
Yeah, it's you. The problem is that Ja Morant does not fit in any way, shape, or form with that front court, and you've got to kind of like you need to have massive plus shooting at your other three positions if you're going to run an ED.
That's the good news. Yeah, the good news is they just got Ty Jerome.
Yeah,
and they just drafted Cedric Coward. So and Jalen Wells is also on the team. Like they have the off ball shooters. It just comes down to whether they think that though one, can Ja stay healthy, and two, can Cedric Coward be like a legit starting level wing? To me, that's like the question.
Cole Anthony should have stayed there. They should have kept Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony could have.
They didn't. Honestly, if they didn't get Ty Jerome, they probably would have. But Ty Jerome is just what the idea of what you want from Cole Anthony.
Fact.
Yeah.
Facts. So. Okay. I was kind of surprised you had this guy on the list that you sent me.
I'm being very unbiased in all of my selections here. Like, no, not my selections. My board that I sent you.
Yeah.
I'm unbiased in the people that I put on there because I have to leave it up to imagination for.
So I'll take another guy from this board that I is available. He is somewhat old for this exercise. But the opportunity is there. I'm gonna take Peyton Pritchard fourth.
So this might have been a better pick if we did this draft a year ago. Like he probably would have been the first pick because there were some impact numbers and per 36 numbers a year ago that suggested that he could make a leap, and he's already kind of made a little bit of that leap. Yeah. So this is a little bit of cheating. He just won Sixth Man of the Year. But as you pointed out, with Jason Tatum out next year, there are shots to go around with the Celtics. And this is his chance to prove whether he can be like a legit starter or even more.
That's my whole case, because he's 27 years old. He's literally older than the Davion Mitchell was when I made the pick. Like it was literally, I picked an older player after. But here's the thing. We're going to know right now, this year is good. Like this is it. Like this is a literal make or break year for him about whether or not he's going to be a $12 million player next time his contract's up a year, or he's going to be a $26 million a year player the next time his contract's up. Like and he's going to make that all right now, because I do think here's the thing about Peyton Pritchard. He's sneaky, like kind of good at things that you don't think that he's good at. He's kind of like an insane rebounder for a guy who's listed at 6'1", but is like obviously like 4'11", not 4'11", 5'11".
You're the same height as Peyton Pritchard?
I am the same height as Peyton Pritchard. Like right now, like he gets 4 rebounds a game, dude. Like
the funniest part about that is that people don't know this. I'll censor this part because I know you don't want to reveal your true height, but you're actually taller than Peyton Pritchard. Anyway, continue.
No. He could fight the fuck out of me though. He could beat the shit out of me.
You would definitely.
He loves getting in fights. Yeah, he loves getting in fights. I mean, he also has a VORP of 3.2, which is like high end for like, again, like this was like a kind of a crazy thing, but like this is a guy who shot 63 true shooting last year. He's not quite as good of an assist guy as you might think. But like he's never had a usage over 20%. So it's like literally never had an above average usage. Next year, he's going to like have to have all of that. I expect the shooting efficiency to come down, but I don't think it's like crazy that he's like a 23 points per game scorer next year, like on like okay efficiency. And I think that like the assist numbers could like come up. Like I think his per 36 was like something like 4.4 and 5 rebounds were his per 36 numbers last year. I think both of those can go up, because I just don't think anyone like this is going to be a turbo ass fucking Celtics team. Like this is a really bad Celtics team, and I think he's going to
playing with stars more, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I guess that's relative, because you guys lost Porzingis, and he probably played with Porzingis a decent amount last year, and Horford. And I consider them like star-ish, level, especially when Porzingis is healthy, he's like a legit star.
I do think they will probably try to stagger him and Jalen as much as possible. Just in terms of like,
just have a shot creator. Yeah.
Like out there. But like I do think like he's gonna get a lot of shots. And I mean, like, look, he's a really tough guy. He's a really like he's crazy strong. Like he's actually like really strong for his size. Like, and he plays a little bit different than you would think. He's got, I don't want to say like Brunson to his game.
Okay,
but like,
funny you bring that up because I was literally just about to shout out this guy. I think it was Niall Hoops on Twitter who did a whole thread on this last year.
Yeah.
Literally before the season started, and said if you look at the players in the NBA that had leaps at like their 25, 26, 27 season, he was like, look at the trajectory Peyton Pritchard's been on the last few years and look back to where he was in college, and he led a top 10 offense in college just like Jalen Brunson. So he basically said his whole theory was like, there will never be another Jalen Brunson probably, just because Jalen Brunson, the leaps and bounds Jalen Brunson made is not to be expected of anyone that we select here.
Yeah.
But the Peyton Pritchard thing, like there was a lot of parallels between those two. Really good one-on-one players, small guards that went to like prestigious college basketball programs and led top offenses in college, started out as bench guards in the NBA, and then slowly got better year after year. And I think Peyton Pritchard can be like, if you not quite the one-on-one mid-range assassin that Jalen Brunson is, but maybe like a diet variation of that, where it's like, somewhere in between like where Tyler Hero was and where Jalen Brunson is, because he's going to shoot more threes like a Hero type than Jalen Brunson does, but he's also going to not have quite the, like Jalen Brunson's probably one of the three best ISO players in the NBA. I don't expect that from Peyton Pritchard, but he's a good one-on-one player.
Yeah, he doesn't have like Jalen Brunson's like change of speed stuff that like he uses to like get everyone off balance, but he's strong like Jalen Brunson. That's like the thing. I think that's like the most misunderstood thing about like Peyton Pritchard is he's kind of a little bit of a tank. Like he's actually like a pretty decent defender. Like when he's like locked into, like I just think he's like, I always thought he was a little bit of a meme player, and then like last year I was kind of like, he's just kind of just a good player. Like, I don't think he even necessarily needs to be a bench guy. I think he genuinely like could start on the right team. Now, given his size, makes that very hard for that fit
next year.
Well, that not for a very good team.
Well, but if he plays well next year, who's to say that he doesn't start when Tatum comes back?
I mean, that's true.
Drew's gone.
Yeah, and maybe that's what they pitch him on.
Drew, White, Brown, Tatum, and then whoever your starting center is.
I think if he's playing really well, I think we trade him this year.
That's possible too.
He's going to have a lot of value on that contract.
He's on a scam contract. I was going to say, we were like, you don't want to make the same mistake that the Bulls made with Kobe White. And Kobe White's another guy that I didn't consider for this draft, by the way. I think Kobe's too good now. Like, I just think that if he gets better, he's probably going to be in the All-Star conversation, and I think it's cheating to include him. I think Peyton Pritchard's a very legit choice here. Like I honestly think of all the guys we've drafted so far, he probably has the best chance to be in the All-Star conversation next year.
I think he's definitely the best of the guy, like right now, of the guys that we drafted.
He's also much older than all these guys.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like 5 to 6 years older than some of these guys that we okay. So should I do a spicy one?
I'm about to do myself. I'm about to go off your board here.
Okay, all right. Then I'll wait. I'll do one that is not. I don't even think it's spicy, but I was surprised how good this player's stats was. I've been a skeptic of this player for a while. I've always thought nerds overrated him. I've never been a big fan of him in general.
Okay,
but the stats and the opportunity that could be coming for Onyeka Okongwu were interesting to me.
Okay.
Because I don't like the idea of an undersized 5. I don't like the idea of, the guys he got comped to were just unfair to him. I think early in his career, the expectations were very high for him because he was literally right at the cutoff. He was the 6th pick in the draft. But he also didn't get like a massive second contract. He's someone that got like a reasonable second deal, but had a very good offensive season last year. Like Okongwu, I was shocked to and now look, he is playing in an ideal context, obviously with Trae Young. And there are going to be times that I think that he will get opportunities. He's still going to be a bench 5 next year. But Porzingis gets hurt all the time.
Yes.
And I don't know if you can survive him and Trey defensively together because he's just not that good on defense. But they do. It doesn't get much better than Dyson Daniels, Ricochet, and Jalen Johnson as your 2, 3, 4 if you're going to try to make that pairing work. And I was surprised, like, Okongwu became a legit jump shooter. Like, he is like not the most efficient 3-point shooter, but he became a legit like offensive big this past season in a way that I didn't really see coming for him. He had one of the stats that I found on the RAPM website, the RAPM website, was potential assists per minute. He was in like the 80th percentile in potential assists per minute, which was weird. I never really thought of him as like a passing big by any means. But his assists without Trey per 75 were 4 assists per 75. And then with Trey, they were less, but his scoring efficiency skyrocketed with Trey. He was like 60 true shooting when Trey was on the court as a mainly perimeter-based big, not a guy who's going to be, doing Clint Capella type stuff. And I still think that this is probably a little bit more of a longer shot, I would say, just because he's already gotten some opportunities and I think he's 24, 25 right now. But between the passing potential, the scoring ability, and if he becomes like an even more improved shooter, I think he could become like a very good, he might just be like a Naz Reid variant. I think if that's like that might be like the general upside for him. But there is a world where like, if he continues to get better as a shooter and a passer, and he's playing in lineups that cover up some of his defensive warts, I could see him becoming, in the vicinity of star. I don't think that he has like a likely star path by any means. But if he does, I kind of think Atlanta. I've always been the biggest Hawk skeptic, but if there's like a little bit of health luck for them next year with Jalen Johnson and Porzingis, like they just have a lot of fucking two-way talent, dude. Like their whole team is either really good offensive specialists like Okongwu and Kennard, and Trey, obviously Trey being the best of all of them, or it is really good two-way talent like, Jalen Johnson and potentially Ricochet if he takes some steps, Porzingis. And I just think that they have potential to be really, really good next year. Like I don't think that they're going to make the conference finals. And I think I made fun of you for saying that they were going to make the finals at some point, or you said they have a chance to make the finals.
They do.
I have a hard time seeing them make the finals, but I wouldn't be absolutely floored if they were like a top 3 seed and they made the conference finals next year. I'm still not betting on it because I just don't trust Porzingis' health. And I think Trey's going to get exposed in the playoffs, but I think that there is a chance that if a few of these guys like Okongwu, like everyone on their team has room to get better, basically, like a large majority of their rotation, and he's one of those guys. So,
yeah, I mean, I've kind of gone back and forth on being an Okongwu sexual. Like
you really liked him a while ago, then you gave up on him, and then he had his best season.
Yeah. I think what's hard for me with Okongwu is he violates. I like that he's kind of a weird player. You know what I'm saying? I like when guys are like weird players and they don't really have a comp. My problem is the reason I'm still out on Okongwu is I don't see how he's like delivering consistent positive value in like a playoff scenario. Like I really have a hard time. Yeah. And I think that's like the biggest barrier for me. Like if
you're just a big who has defensive issues because of, now, to be fair, I think that one of the reasons why he has defensive issues, I think in certain matchups, he can be really good defensively. Like his rookie season, he was really good in the playoffs, in the Sixers and the Bucks series defensively. He was awesome, but he's not quite good enough as a shooter to be a 4. It's literally the Jaren Jackson Jr. problem, but with a much worse player, basically. And if that is the case, that Okongwu is not a perimeter shooter, then this argument kind of falls apart. Like, he still is a low volume 3-point shooter. He still makes below league average from 3. And he probably needs to be more of a 4 on defense to survive. And they kind of need him to be a 5 on defense. So that's really why he has struggled so far in his career. Because, like, he can guard a little bit. Like, especially earlier in his career, he guarded Giannis in the playoffs as a rookie. Like, didn't do a great job, but, like, he was passable. And he also had possessions where he guarded Embiid in that Hawks series. Like, I don't think that it's out of the question that he can become a passable defender, but for this to really happen, like, he needs to continue to get better as a passer and a shooter, because right now, bro, he shot 63% from 2 and 67% the year before. And he doesn't just take shots at the basket is the thing. Like, he takes floaters and mid-range stuff too. But yeah, the 3-point shooting is really what needs to be the swing skill for him, because he only takes 2 a game and he made 32% last year. Like, he needs to be a 34% 3-point shooter on like 4 or 5 a game.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm a little skeptical he gets there with some of that stuff, but all the other stuff, like the weird passing stuff, the fact that he's like such a good shot blocker for his height, like there's a lot of stuff that I do really like about Okongwu. And like, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not like, I'm tentatively burying him and being out, but like at my own risk. Like, I do recognize that there is a path where like Okongwu ends up.
It's very unlikely. That's why I took him a little bit lower than some of the other guys I had on my board.
Right. All right. Time for me to go off the board.
Yeah, you can go off the board.
I just want to make sure I didn't lie. You didn't have this.
I probably had him written down just because I listed a ton of people, but I think people want to see you work your magic. People are expecting a lot from this episode.
I'll get to my magic. I did just bury a guy. You go ahead. You go ahead.
I just want to say, I sent in your list earlier of your picks from last draft, and people got pumped, and I'm sure they're disappointed to learn that you didn't do a ton of research for this episode due to timing, and I was the one who threw together the list. But I still think that I believe that you can cook. I think we can just throw you the rock and let you go.
I'm not going to lie. My next 3 picks in some order are going to be off of the list that you sent me.
Let's go.
In some way. So
I might have added them later, but just not sent them to you. But I want to hear who it is.
Okay. Well, I'll start here. I'll start with something calm. I was going to take another guy list, but I found out he's 4 years older than I thought he was. So I'm bumping him down a little.
Incredible.
So we're swapping some spots around, but this isn't exactly a surprise. Let's get Jalen Duren in here.
Certainly
Future
not going to be
all-star.
Certainly not going to be 4 years older than you think. He's still like what, 21?
He's not 22 yet.
It's unbelievable. Every time I look at his age, I'm like, how does this? He is reverse Benjamin Button. He is Benjamin Button, I guess.
Yeah. he's like never been old. I mean, here's the thing. Jalen Duren's like, he's kind of, I think the Detroit, like it much in the sort of history of Detroit Pistons bigs, Greg Monroe, Andre Drummond. Like, I think his reputation at this point of his career is a little bit of like a empty stats kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got a lot of really impressive numbers. 70 true shooting percentage. I think he led the league in defensive rebounding the year before last, defensive rebounding percentage or something like that. Like, he's one of the quietly a pretty elite like rebounder. Assist rate has gone up every year in the league. The new high in block rate last year, 4.2. He's still pretty high in turnover percentage, but like he like went from being like a negative BPM guy to like a 3.1 BPM guy in like one season. And that's like pretty much all context. I'm going to like be like totally honest. And I still don't think the context is like perfect for him. Like, and I think that it takes a while to kind of be
Cade making the leap was the big thing for him.
Sure. That's the one good thing, but like what else?
He'll still play with Cade though. So
he'll play with Cade, but he's not going to have like Asar Thompson's going to be his front court partner. You know what I'm saying? And like the spacing's not great there. You know, like I love Asar as well, but like those guys aren't like a hand in glove fit. Like, speak of guys who could really use a Santi Aldama on their team, like that, Jalen Duren would be amazing for him.
I thought they should have thrown a bag at him, but
yeah. But like, I just think Duren, like, I do think it's very hard to learn how to play defense as like a young big. And I think he's got a lot of the like raw tools that you need. And I know he's like kind of sucked. And like some of the eye test stuff like is not great. I think his foul rate is probably the thing that's still the biggest. I mean, what's his per 100? Yeah, I mean, he's still almost 6 per 100. So like, he almost falls out every time.
A quarter and a half a game. That's not. I'm sorry, that's a game and a quarter. So 75 possessions is about an average game. So
yeah,
per 100 is.
Oh, I thought pace this year. I thought pace is like 100 now.
So per 100, but is he playing all 48 minutes?
No, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
That's why you do per 75 instead of per 100.
Yeah. I mean, per 36, it's still like 4.4, which is
it's not good. I mean, but it's not. He's literally fouling out every game.
He will be, it's enough that like probably every like 5th game he's in foul trouble, which is like, it's not ideal, but I
shitting on Jaren Jackson Jr. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, just because like everyone talks about how shitty Jalen Duren is, and Jaren Jackson Jr. literally was Defensive Player of the Year.
Jalen Duren is much improved from where he was. I think we kind of just have to throw out the first 2 years of all of the Pistons guys, like Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, like that, especially that last season. I almost take no information from that, just because like who could thrive in that context, and like I probably overreacted to Cade's season, and I overreacted to pretty much everyone on that team, including Duren, because Duren was still bad defensively to start this year, but improved a lot, I would say. Like I think that he can get to a point where he is. I think this is going to sound like a negative, but it's unfair to him too, because my thing was like I think he might just be like a better Montrezl Harrell, but he actually has some passing chops, and I do think that with his athleticism, he can become a really, really good defender if he can get better at some. And he, once again, another guy that will have great defensive context, because as fucked up as their spacing is, there's not many teams that have as many good perimeter defenders as they have.
Yeah, they do have Asar. They do have
Ron Holland.
Okay, Ron Holland.
Cade's a great help defender. Yeah. Ivy's actually become a pretty decent defender at the point of attack, from what I've heard.
Yeah, no, they have like a lot of like really good defensive tools now. Not having obviously Beasley's everything going on with Beasley, and like the sheer amount of like shots and shooting that he gave them last year. Like, I don't think Duncan Robinson's like replacing that. So like the offensive context is probably,
we'll see. He might. They're apparently keeping a roster spot open.
Because it would definitely be in the NBA's best interest for this to go away. Maybe Adam Silver made the call.
Yeah.
And to some
maybe Malik Beasley can hire Young Thug's lawyer.
That would be awesome.
The guy who just like does TikToks and has like a ton of aura.
Somebody, I look. Marcus Morris's bill got paid off. I'm just saying that the league is going around to make the gambling stuff. I'm just saying, like, I wonder if DraftKings is. Wonder if Adam Silver's running mob boss shit, where he's like, DraftKings, if you want this gravy train to keep going, like,
yeah, the NFL. Look, the NFL now has partial equity in ESPN Bet, so everything's backwards.
That's always good.
Well, technically, it's just ESPN, and ESPN Bet's a separate company. They just use their name. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we should, if we have time at the end of this, we should do like a little NFL, like abbreviated. I listened to Bill today, and I have so many thoughts. Let's do it. I've always believed in Duren. Like, I know a lot of people are like out on him, like eye test wise. When I watch him, I'm like, this guy's like got a lot of raw, like it's just catching up, like in terms of, and I watched Robert Williams make some like similar adjustments, like on the fly. And I just like, he's not the athlete Rob Williams was, obviously no one is, but like, he's got a lot of
he's a pretty crazy athlete,
but he's a pretty good at, well, I mean, Rob Williams is just like, it was like, he was like the next tier below like the Thompson twins and Russell Westbrook. But like, here's the thing, like, the other thing is like, I now saw him in a playoff context do like pretty well, I thought, against a pretty good Knicks offense, and like some shit like where he was like up against like one of the best offensive rebounders in the NBA in Mitchell Robinson, and kind of a spacing nightmare with Cat. And I thought acquitted himself like pretty well. It wasn't perfect, but like for a third-year guy in the NBA, like I don't know. I'm watching. There's not a lot of really great traditional bigs in the NBA anymore. I don't think it's like crazy that he like squeaks into like an all-star team in like 4 or 5 years. Like,
so everyone finding out that Chris Boucher was 32 years old when he signed with the Celtics is the opposite issue that opposite phenomenon that I have every time I check Jalen Duren's age. I'm like, it's like when I check Chief Keef's age and I'm like, he's still not 30.
yeah.
How is that? Because I've known of him for his entire life. Like, he was 16 when he got famous. So Duren being 18 on draft night really breaks my brain that like he is still 21 years old today. Like it just, it leaves a lot of room for growth. Like, and now he's going into the second year playing with like a high level pick and roll creator. And yeah, no, there's definitely potential there for him. All right. So all right. We've gone kind of chalk so far. Like, I think we've just drafted good young players that have potential to be like, maybe more than what they've shown so far. So,
you're going off the board.
I'm just deciding how spicy I want to be with this because I have a few guys that are like fairly obvious. And there's one guy I'm like positive is not going to be a star, but I still want to discuss him.
There's one guy I'm very surprised you haven't taken yet, but he's not spicy at all. So
there are two guys that aren't spicy at all that were like towards the top of my board. And we've just talked about the one player so much that I don't want to really talk about him anymore. So should I go sicko mode? Nah, it's way too early for that. I'll save that one. I don't want to just keep drafting Memphis players. But Memphis like got like all the stat indicators with like most of their guys are like really good. And once again, we talked about with the Peyton Pritchard thing a little bit. This is and before everyone piles on me, this is not going to happen. I had him on my very long shots, but I want to talk about him anyway.
Let's go.
Ty Jerome just had one of the greatest combo seasons of. Here's the thing. Is Ty Jerome too old, just like Peyton Pritchard? Yes. Is he going to make an all-star team in his career? No. But on a per minute basis, there are very few players who have had as good of seasons as Ty Jerome just had this past year. We talked about the fact that he had over 20 drives per 100 possessions. He shot crazy on pull-ups this past year. And the sliver of why I think that he could have a chance, the tiny fraction of a percentage of why I think he could have a chance, is that he is going to be the backup to Ja Morant. And last year, he played behind both Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. So there was never a chance for him to ever become a starter on that team. There was just no world in which both of them were going to be out and he could start next to the other one or without both of them. But there is a world where Ja Morant gets hurt, which is every year in reality.
I was going to say, there's certainly a world and we're living in it.
We live in that world literally every year.
Yeah.
So if Ja Morant gets injured next year, it's not even guaranteed that he would be the starter. Scottie Pippen Jr. is another guy who I had on my list.
Yeah.
But he's not quite as spicy because Scottie's still young enough that there could be reasonable improvements for him to get to a point where he is in this conversation. But Ty Jerome, I know everyone, Cavs fans, whenever I say anything nice about Ty Jerome, they're like, he sucked in the playoffs. And I'm like, all right, this is not what the fucking exercise is. All right. This exercise is who is someone that can become he already made a little bit of a leap last year once he got healthy and had an opportunity. Once again, did not play a ton of, he didn't even play 20 minutes a game last year and he's already 27. So two things working against him. What he did do is he shot 57% from two on 9.4 attempts per game, 43.9% from three on 6.5 attempts per game. And per 36, I'm sorry, these are all per 36, not, these are not per game. He averaged 23 points, 6 assists, and 4.5 rebounds with 2 steals per 36 last year. That's like all-star numbers. Like, now, once again, it's hard to extrapolate like bench players' numbers. We do this with bigs and backup point guards all the time, where they get into a role, and it doesn't mean that if they started and they were facing the coverages that John Morant and Damian Lillard and Donovan Mitchell and all those guys face, that they would have the same success. But there's at least a chance that Ja's just never healthy, and Ty Jerome gets a chance this year to prove that he can be a legit starting level point guard with potential for more. Now, the other problem is that we've talked about this all the time. It's so fucking hard to be a star point guard. There are just so many good ones, and the bar is so unreasonably high to expect someone to have that breakout at age 27 or 28. Not highly likely by any means. But Ty Jerome at least just had like a very, very good season, and his analytics are fucking off the charts. Even before last season, he had good analytics, and I was like, why does he have good analytics? Like, Ty Jerome is just like a fourth guard. Like, why would he ever? And he proved that he is a legit NBA player this year. And even though he's not a starter right now, I still think he's on like a scam contract. He's making like $8 million a year. Like, there's not very many players as good as Ty Jerome that are making $8 million a year. It's also possible he just had a completely outlier shooting season this past year, but like plus 4.3 BPM, really good shooter, solid passer, could be better, and potential to be someone who is like starting games for a decent team next year.
It's I don't think it's like crazy. I like when I was like looking at like Peyton Pritchard's like 6th man of the year case last year, I was like kind of like, wait, why is Ty Jerome, like, I know it was like a 2-man race between him and Malik Beasley. I was kind of surprised Ty Jerome didn't get more like love and like consideration.
He was just on the worst team.
Nuts.
He was on the worst team possible because he was playing with 2 other star guards.
Yeah, I bet like all his numbers were like fucking insane. Like,
Dude, if you look up some of these stats, like self-created looks, pull-up shooting, like he is like near the top of the league in like all the pick and roll scoring. Like he's near the top of the league in like all of these stats.
The Grizzlies are the little pervert team. They would never sign anyone unless they like really felt like they were getting plus value out of the contract, and they like clearly believe in him. Like, so that's like a kind of an indicator. They usually don't like zag on guys, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't, when they go out and like get a guy who's like not in house, it's usually like watch this space, you know? So I don't think like you said, it's unlikely. We want to do something fun and kind of spicy, you know, like it's not likely, but like, I think we're talking about like swing, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think it's certainly one of the better odds on the board for sure. I totally agree.
All right. Let's recap before we do your next pick, because we're about a little over an hour in. Mm-hmm. Who did you pick with your first pick? I had Jovic with Santi.
Yeah.
Then I went Edie. We've already taken 3 Grizzlies. Incredible.
Peyton Pritchard.
Mm-hmm. Okongwu, Duren.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if you saw the comment from the guy when we ranked the front offices.
No, what do you say?
We ranked the front offices, and we were 40 minutes in, and it only ranked the Lakers and the Spurs.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, "All right, I'm out." And then I was like, "You must be new around here, buddy."
Yeah, you don't know that you're not built for the mines the way the Hoggies are. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say,
hang around for your 2-hour and 40-minute podcast.
Your government mandated 3-hour podcast in August. Yeah, this is what happens under communism, folks.
Yes.
Speaking of communism, sign up for our YouTube, the room membership.
Communism. Google the arbiters of communism. Google the company we love.
Stalinists. No, yeah, we. But if you would like to support us in addition to the Patreon, or if you just want to support our YouTube, you can do that too, because this is going to be a main feed episode, and they're matching on, I think it's the first 100 people that sign up for the YouTube room membership. They're matching on that. So go sign up for that now. You can join. I'll put the link in the description for this. We would really appreciate it if you could. But if not, we love you anyway.
Yeah. Not the end of the world.
Not a big deal. No. All right. So you're up next. Just to recap, I'll just run down real quick. Jovic, Santi, Edie, Pritchard, Okongwu, Duren, Ty Jerome. That's what we've taken so far.
So do we want boring? Do we want spice?
Let's go spicy. Let's go spice.
So I have 3 different types of spice. I have, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go. I need a commemorative 26-year-old.
Come on.
Here in the chat. Now, some might say rookies that are 24 are bad, and you shouldn't bet on these guys. However, when I bravely took Donovan Mitchell, I bucked this trend.
Davion.
Oh yeah, sorry. Similar guy.
Mitchell,
45. Another D Mitchell that was 45, number 45.
Never a hiding in plain sight. He was instantly a star in the NBA. But yes, continue.
Yes, but when I took Davion Mitchell, I bucked these trends. I am now anointing the new star in plain sight, our new king, come to save us. Terrence Shannon Jr., come on down.
Okay, so I added him on my list after I sent you it.
So
that's why I'm not super shocked by this.
Okay.
But I actually have some stock in this a little bit. I never said it on the podcast, but I did have a post in the, and this is probably going to age really badly. But I had a post in the Discord where I said, Terrence Shannon Jr. is a better athlete and a better shooter than Richeche. Why doesn't he have a higher ceiling? Was he 5 years older than Richeche at the time? It's impossible to say. Yeah,
just to say
he's already 25 years old. But he also, we talked about with him, like if he came out of college at 22, he could have been an NBA player. Like, I don't think he is more of the NIL guys where it's like, I think we'll see more of like this style of player. Nick Clifford's probably another example of this.
Well, where it's like, when Yaxel comes out next year, he'll be able to like 25 or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. Like they'll be older, but like we knew they could have been an NBA player the year before, or in Terrence Shannon Jr.'s case, I think he could have come out in like the 2022 draft and he just waited 2 years. But killed in summer league, had a breakout playoff game, really good athlete, really good shooter, not a bad passer. I shouldn't say he's a decent passer for his archetype. Like he didn't pass a ton in college. He had some moments passing in summer league and in his rookie season. My comp for him, funny enough, was pre this season Norm Powell. And then Norm Powell just had like a near all-star level season this year.
Yeah.
So like what if Norm Powell was bigger and a better defender, but not quite the level of shooter that Norm Powell is? It's a really good player.
Also, fun fact about Terrence Shannon Jr. never missed a free throw in the playoffs. Nails.
100%. Yeah.
100%. 12 for 12 in the playoffs. So far.
I was going to say, I had Terrence Shannon Jr. on my long list that I didn't, that I did later, but Peter, our everyone knows Peter, our resident Wolves fan, said, I'm spoiling the episode, Terrence Shannon Jr. And I said, is it okay to select players if they're already past their prime?
Terrence. I mean, that's the main thing with Terrence Shannon Jr. He would be like a perfect pick. Like, honestly, I might have taken him number 1 if he were like 21 years old.
I was going to say, when you said that he's 4 years older than you thought.
Yeah.
That is the thing, is that I think a lot of people will have the opposite effect that we just talked about with Jalen Duren with him, where they're like, how old is he already?
Yeah. He's already 25. Like,
right.
Which is crazy. He's going into his sophomore year. He's 25 years old. Like,
he played at 3 different colleges, if I remember correctly. I think he played at Texas, then he transferred to Texas Tech, and then he transferred to Illinois.
Yeah.
So that happens when you're transferring that often. But
but he's a turbo athlete though. Like he belongs as an NBA athlete, which I think as a wing is good. And the fact that he's like a normal at a lot of other stuff, as in a high leverage situation, didn't seem scared of the moment. He's gonna play for the Wolves. They're gonna need him now that Nickeil Alexander-Walker is gone. Like,
he's very similar to Nickeil Alexander-Walker, funny enough.
Yeah, like I could see him. Like, it's pretty unlikely he ever pans out and becomes a star. I think he's like a decent bet to at least become a starter, though. Like, I think that he could
my thing is, I always thought he could be like a 4th or 5th starter. Yeah.
Like I think he could like make his way up to like 5th starter in like 3 years. So like I think he's interesting. You know, the problem is just by the time you train him up for that, he's 28 years old.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we
You
just took Peyton Pritchard and Ty Jerome. So if we could take those two, I think
he's 2 years younger than Peyton Pritchard.
that's unbelievable.
That's crazy. Like,
who was old for his draft.
Yeah.
I mean, he's I also had another post in the Discord that I found about him, and I said I was higher on Terrence Shannon Jr. before I found out that he's literally older than Tyrese Maxey.
That's like his main thing, is just he's so old for especially for this exercise. But I believe in pretty much everything else, just in terms of like indicators. I will be watching his career with great interest, because other than that, I do kind of believe in Terrence Shannon Jr. So
let's go pervert mode.
Okay.
No, I can't keep taking super old guys. I have to take a younger player because it's just.
Don't worry, I have a pervert young player after this off the board. I went with.
You should probably not say those words back.
I guess in that order. Yeah, that's not ideal.
You know what? Here, I'll go with a long shot. Once again, we've talked too much about Kyle Filipowski. That was the guy that I was talking about earlier. That I was
expecting you.
I don't even really think it's hard to say that Filipowski is not, but like, to me, he was good as a rookie, really good in summer league. It almost feels like cheating to take him at this spot. So I'm going to say that I'm putting him off limits. Although I did take Zach Edey earlier, but once again, we've talked.
I also took Peyton Pritchard, who is literally reigning sixth man of the year. But
yeah, anyway,
whatever.
Anyway,
it's about content, folks. Who cares?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll go with someone else on the Jazz just to spice it up.
Let's go.
Bring down my guy, big body Bryce Sensabaugh.
Oh, let's go. I love this.
So here's the thing. I love Bryce Sensabaugh in the draft. I've told this story on before. I had Alex Spears on. And Alex Spears, before the draft, we were talking about players who he was like, all right, let's try to like identify the busts in this draft. And this was when everyone thought in the 2023 draft that Bryce Sensabaugh was going to go like near the lottery. He actually ended up falling because of injuries. And he got taken with like the 27th pick in the draft, which was like a completely reasonable place to take him in the draft. Funny enough, very similar to Filipowski, where he fell for, and then that might end up being sort of a steal for the Jazz.
Yeah.
And he was like, so wait, he doesn't pass, he doesn't defend, and he's just like mainly a mid-range bucket getter. Like, why do you like this guy? Like, I feel like he has bust written all over him. And I was like, he's got aura, first off, which is very important. Vibes pick here. And he has potential to be like a really legit shooter. Like, I mean, he is pretty much already. I mean, he shot 5.2 threes per game this past year, shot 42% on them. In the few games he played in summer league this year, I was like, this guy might be like a top 10 shooter in the NBA. And that's kind of how I felt about him coming out of college, was that he could be someone who just is like nails from everywhere on the court. It's unlikely he gets past bench guard just because he's not a high level playmaker. He's not a high level defender. He doesn't get to the line a ton, but I do think that shooting can carry him very far. And I ultimately think that he could end up somewhere on the spectrum of, he's not quite as athletic as these guys, so it's hard to say, but somewhere on the spectrum of Desmond Bane to Norm Powell, where those guys are better players, and it's unlikely that he ends up on that level. But I do think that, like, as we move away from, my God, the more I look at his numbers, the more I'm just like, this is probably a horrible thing. It's just the fact that he never gets to the line, like two attempts per 36. But when he gets there, he shoots 89.5% from the line. And he shot 42% on 9.4 threes per 36 this past year.
Don't overthink it.
He puts threes up, dude. And he averages almost 3 assists per 36. That's not great. But 19 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Like, I don't think it's impossible that he just continues to get better and better as a shooter. And then his defense and his passing becomes passable enough that him being one of the 10 to 15 best shooters in the NBA makes him into like a very quality NBA player. So I'll go with Bryce Sensabaugh. I don't feel great about that one, but I've taken so many like guys who are more proven that I wanted to take like a bit 19-minute per game player on the Utah Jazz. Like, I just feel like we trash the Jazz a lot on this podcast. Let's throw him a bone.
I love it. I think that's great.
Funny enough, I think there's an argument to be made, and maybe this is just a per minute basis and because they're bench players, but there is an argument to be made other than Walker Kessler, who's still kind of a prospect. Other than Walker Kessler, there is an argument to be made that Bryce Sensabaugh and Kyle Filipowski are their best prospects. Like from a production standpoint, they're definitely the most productive.
All right. Well, here's what I'm going to say. All right. You have pushed the envelope. Well, wait, no, I can't take him. Shit.
Why?
I forgot because he's bad. Because I was going to take a bad player. I was going to take, but I still believe in him. But I forgot he's a top 5 pick. Fuck.
Wait. Bad player, top 5 pick.
I was going to take Benedict. I was going to take Benedict Mathurin.
No, he was the 6th pick in the draft.
Oh, was he 6th?
I think he was.
I thought he was 5th. Hold on. Let me look this up.
I think
6th. No, you're right. He was 6th.
Jaden Ivey was 5th in that.
Jaden, that's right. Jaden Ivey was 5th in that draft.
Yeah.
It's he got mocked 5th all the time when he was getting it. Okay. So I could take Benedict, but now I don't want to take Benedict Mathurin though because I didn't get.
He's going to get a chance this upcoming season. I was very high on him after his rookie season, and he's been very disappointing since. Like after his rookie season, I was like, oh man, like he lives at the line, dude.
I got roped back in a little bit by the playoffs, even with him like falling apart.
He was pretty ass in like half of those games. But yeah, but I understand what you're saying just because it's like we talked about ad nauseum with the wings and forwards who can score. And
just he's a rim pressure wing, which is like those don't exist. Like
funny enough, and I determined that the 4 guys who are restricted free agents right now are too good for this.
Yeah. With
Grimes, Kuminga, Giddey, and Cam Thomas. Like I just think they're too high profile.
Kuminga, I don't know about.
So funny enough, that's why I want to bring him up.
Yeah.
I'm still not, I've never been the biggest Kuminga guy.
I'm out.
He is one of the 10 best foul drawers in the NBA. On a per possession basis, Owen Phillips did a piece on this, and do you want to hear the list that he was in with? And by the way, I looked up more free throw numbers with guys, and he was like towards the top of the league. The only forwards that were better than him at griffing free throws, Jimmy and Giannis. He was 3rd.
I'll say that's
a
good.
skill. Like I know,
a skill. Yeah,
I know that I'm still not like he's going to be a star, but like the thing is that every time I compare someone to Kuminga, I'm like, yeah, but what team is going to be like Jonathan Kuminga take 20 shots a game? It's the Sacramento Kings. Why am I asking the question? They're literally trying to trade for him right now. So yeah, the Sacramento Kings might, but I'm still not there with him, but there was a stat that was, I believe, the only players ahead of him on drives that drew free throws were Anthony Edwards, SGA, Jimmy Butler, and Giannis. And he was 5th at drawing fouls.
It's a good list. It's a good list.
I'm still skeptical on Kuminga. I'm just saying it's not impossible in a way that to me, he's like the stats are way better than the eye test when I watch him. Now you're going to get upset because you like this player and he's on your favorite team and he won finals MVP, but it kind of reminds me of Jaylen Brown when he was younger, and their stats are almost identical, but Jaylen became a much better shooter and Jaylen's a better defender than Kuminga. So like, it's hard for me to say like, there's no chance for Kuminga when if you line up pretty much everything with Jaylen Brown, it's very similar, but also Jaylen was proven in the playoffs by the time,
outlier development, I do think
Kuminga could have outlier development too, but
I would rather bet, honestly, I would rather bet on Mathurin than Kuminga.
I'd rather bet on Kuminga than Mathurin.
Yeah, I've seen Mathurin do it in the playoffs. Like, even if he was like dog shit, like
Kuminga actually had some moments in the playoffs. I know that it didn't matter because they lost Steph, so who gives a shit, really?
Well, so here's the thing. So I'm actually not taking Benedict Mathurin. So let me take the best young Warriors player. Now you've talked me into it, so I'll take this Warriors player.
I had him
in plain sight. let's take Quentin Post.
Oh, you're leaning into the bit.
No, what bit? What bit? I'm sorry, this 24-year-old fucking demon who's out here 59 true shooting percentage. What's up? What's up? He's
59 true shooting for a setter?
Okay, as a shooter though, dude.
His whole diet was threes.
Yeah, he's a 3-point, like 40% 3-point shooter on 9 per 36, dude. 9 threes per 36 minutes. And
Incredible.
he's like a solid rebounder. Actually had like 3 assists per 36 minutes, which is like fine. The thing is he fouls a ton, same thing as with Duren. Like he really can't stay on the floor with like the fouls and some of the stuff.
All right, what's your real pick?
No, I'm not kidding. I'm 100% serious. I looked at Quentin Post numbers like as a joke because I was so sick of like Warriors fans like doing it, but now I'm kind of in actually, and I've watched Quentin Post play a couple of times.
You know what's
I think
really
he could
funny?
be a starter. I genuinely think he could be a starter in the NBA.
You know what's really funny?
What's that?
I almost put him on my list and I didn't because I was just like, he's way too old and like he's just going to be a role player at best. I mean, I saw him get like rejected at the rim too many times and was just like, I don't see it with him. But the more I looked at, and once again, this is on a per 36 per possession basis, so you can't overreact too much to this. But the guy who actually had better per possession and per 36 stats of their young bigs was Trayce Jackson-Davis.
Well, yeah, he's like a different type of big. Like
he is, but like I don't know what to do with him because like his numbers are really good, but then like he doesn't play for them because they need shooting.
Well, and he's also he's
also very old.
Well, and he's also a little bit of an. I love Trayce Jackson-Davis. That was one of my big picks because in that draft I had him like 23 on my board, and he went like deep in the second round. So that was one of my good called shots. But he's a little bit of that Okongwu variant where he's like kind of small and like it's a little bit of like.
And the Warriors need size, and that's why I think Post is bigger than him, which is why they played him.
And he can shoot. Like he's the double factor of spacing and shooting. I just think like you want to talk about guys who could be like Luke Cornett or something like that. Like like Quentin Post. Like it took Luke Cornett was kicking around the league for like 5 years before he turned into like a good player. Like in this is a similar bet. Like I'm not saying Quentin Post is going to be an all-star. I think he could be like. We could look up in 5 years and he's getting a, 4-year, $39 million contract from somebody to be their like they're backup big to spot starting like center big.
And like nerds are like, he's actually one of the more underrated players in the NBA because he has like good on-offs and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, like, is he good now? No. Shut up about him. Shut up. Warriors fans need to shut up about him. But I do think like, the skill set is unique enough and kind of really leaning into like the zeitgeist of the league so much that I do kind of want to bet on him a little bit. So
sorry, while I was looking this up, I found I was trying to find the Kuminga stat that I was talking about.
Yeah. And
I found another stat that Owen Phillips had posted. First in above the break threes on very low volume last year was Jake LaRavia from 3. Who I did not include in here. Although I do think Jake LaRavia has a chance to be very good for the Lakers.
I think you did actually.
I didn't include him. No, I didn't. I tried not to do all Grizzlies and former Grizzlies. But I did not include Jake LaRavia. Also, I just had way too many white guys on there, and I was like, we're already not beating the allegations.
Yeah, I was gonna say we haven't beat the allegations exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The Reed Shepherd, our Reed Shepherd pick from 2 years ago really hurt us. Topich, me being Topich, Reed Shepherd.
Yeah,
was tough at the.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it was. That. Look,
the KKK draft.
Yeah, I was gonna say. That was
all strikes from you. Case.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it was the LFO draft.
So, the reason I wanted to bring this up, Sam.
Yes.
Jake LaRavia on very small sample was the best above the break 3-point shooter last year in the NBA. But then Jokic was 2 and 3 was Ty Jerome. Wow. 44% from above the break on 206 attempts. He was a crazy pull-up three-point shooter.
I was just gonna say that's like one of those stats that I was talking about. Is it like assist rate something ridiculous too, or am I making that up?
No, his assist rate was like pretty good.
Yeah. There was like one. It was his shooting, and like one other thing he did was like insane.
Assist to turnover, I think.
That's what it is.
I don't think he turned the ball over a ton, if I remember correctly. But yeah. So yeah, we'll move on. You get the gist of the Kuminga thing. He is a good foul drawer. That's like very, very obviously his best skill. He has to certainly get better at a lot of other things. But
I will be shooting him. I will be betting against Jonathan Kuminga.
That's fair. I also think that if you don't have the mindset, it's hard with guys like Kuminga because like you want them to have the mindset that he has for like reaching higher levels, but like the fact that he has proven to not be adaptable at all with the Warriors is a pretty big red flag, I would say. Yeah. But Mathurin's also the same way. Mathurin's just going to get an opportunity next year because Halliburton's out. Like Kuminga will never get the chance that Mathurin's going to get this upcoming season with the Warriors specifically.
Mathurin's also a 34% 3-point shooter on 4 per game attempts, which is
really Kuminga's not that much worse than that.
No, I didn't realize Kuminga was worse than that. I was saying that as a point against Mathurin because that's really
no, that's not good. Yeah. That also might just be him taking dumb pull-ups and like needing to change his shot diet. Yeah, Kuminga's 33% from 3 for his career.
That is like the ultimate let them fight. I'll be watching that with great interest. The Jonathan, because wasn't Kuminga 7?
I'll bet on Kuminga. Yeah, Kuminga was 7
in that draft.
But he's gotten too much prestige zone stuff is the problem.
Yeah.
That everyone thinks he's going to be a future star. And I don't think he's going to be a future star, to be clear. But I think if I'm making a bet on one of Mathurin or him, he's younger. He has maybe Mathurin gets back there as a foul drawer next year, but we'll see. I think Kuminga's a better defender than Mathurin.
We have some attack. We have some Revenge of the Titans. So I was wondering if they were the same draft. They weren't. Kuminga was the Giddey draft.
They were a year apart.
So you have Giddey and Kuminga playing out right now. The battle of the ass for restricted free agency. Like which of these guys are going to get paid? We could have the same thing next year with Benedict Mathurin and Shaedon Sharpe.
It's very likely. I don't think either of those teams are motivated to give them big contracts.
Yeah.
And I think that especially Mathurin is going to want to prove that he's better now that he's going to get a chance to start next year. Sharpe is someone who we like him, but he's all idea still. Not all idea. Yeah. He's still has not caught up to the level of production for his skills and his athleticism. But that definitely will be happening. Now, I think that if either of them have decent years, their teams will just pay them because restricted free agency will be different next year because of the cap space. The reason why it's moved so slow this year is there's no caps. I did want to talk a little sidebar about restricted free agency. Can I make a prediction?
Okay, go ahead.
I think at least 2 of the 4 remaining restricted free agents will take the qualifying offer.
I was going to say, I bet Kuminga does.
And I think Cam Thomas does too.
That's probably good. I do think the Bulls are going to bend and give Giddey something.
I think the Sixers and the Bulls will eventually cave. And I think they will give Grimes and Giddey something reasonable for both sides. Kuminga it's a boring conversation to have because it's kind of been the only slot we've had for about a month. Yeah. But Kuminga and Cam Thomas could take the qualifying offer and hit unrestricted free agency a year from now. They get a no trade clause so they can determine where they go because you cannot trade them. And then even if they decide, hey, I will waive the no trade clause, their bird rights don't transfer with them. So if they get traded to a team that doesn't have cap space, they can't re-sign with that team after next season. So it's going to be a real staring match. I think the 2 players who do, and honestly, if I were their agent, I would be like, fuck it. Like, Kuminga, I might just take the money because he's getting offered. The rumor is like 2 years. I think
40,
45, 2 years.
5, something like
I would just take that and then just be like, we can try again next year and hope they decline your team option if you bitch enough, basically.
Yeah.
Or they pick up your team option and they trade you somewhere. But if I were Cam Thomas, I would definitely
just do
a qualifying offer. I mean, it's $6 million versus like $14 million, and it's a 1-year deal, basically. What has been rumored, and like you could probably get more money next offseason if you're Cam Thomas. Like, I don't think that there's a world where unless Kuminga makes a massive leap this year that he's making a ton more than, if anything, there's a higher risk. I think he could make less money in free agency next year. I would just
Kuminga,
tell him,
you mean?
Yeah, for Kuminga, 100%.
I think Cam Thomas. Yeah, I think everybody knows what Cam Thomas is. Like I think people will pay him. I don't think he's gonna get the money that he wants.
No,
but like I think he'll probably end up making more money than he would just taking whatever that Nets offer is. It's like not very good. So
yeah, I mean it's basically the MLE,
right? So
yeah. So all right. So you went with who did you just take again?
Quentin Post, baby. How could you forget?
I can't believe you just took Quentin Post. I took Bryce Sensabaugh, so I can't really talk.
We're cooking. This is what the people are here for.
This is what people. All right, then I gotta go crazy with the next one too, and not. You know what? I'm gonna do a really funny one.
Okay.
Expand your mind, Sam.
Brother, I'm there.
I have found a player that I think we have literally mentioned one time on this podcast.
Okay.
A single time that we have mentioned him a single time on this podcast.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to be selecting the best guard, the best healthy guard on the Dallas Mavericks, Mr. Brandon Williams.
What?
Google Brandon Williams. I knew you wouldn't know who he is.
Do I know this guy?
To be clear, I think Brandon Williams is just my new Jared Butler.
He's a soccer player to me.
No, basketball, NBA.
Basketball. Oh, the Arizona guy. Okay, yes. I remember him from when he was like in the draft process. Year.
So
was it last year? I think, or 2 years ago.
I don't know. Doesn't matter. I think it was like 3 years ago. It doesn't matter.
Ago, you're right. 4 years ago.
Wow. Yeah. So the thing's working against me. He's already 25, and he's barely played at all in the NBA. Only 33 games last year, also working against me. But he did average 25 and 4 per 36 on 57.8% from 2, 40% from 3, and legitimately, they have D'Lo now, so D'Lo's better than him. That was more of a joke. But he will probably be their second best guard next year going into the season before Kyrie gets healthy. He will get opportunities. They desperately need good guard play, and Jaden Hardy, who I love dearly as a hooper in the draft, has just not panned out at all for them. Brandon Williams was better for them last year than Jaden Hardy was. And the other thing was, the big thing that I look at when it comes to these hiding in plain star draft things is unassisted 2-point rate. Because if you're a star, you're creating a lot of your own offense. He had over 70% an unassisted 2-point rate last year, and he shot 57.8% from 2.
Ooh.
So there's a little bit of juice there, at least. Once again, this was in my massive long shots. I didn't even send you him.
Yeah, I was gonna say he did not make the list. Yeah.
I thought of him later, and I was like, I gotta include him just for the bit. Like, I just think it would be hilarious to include him. So if you're going Quentin Post, I'm going Brandon Williams.
I love it.
I love that. Like, there are very obvious players that we have not taken, and we're like, fuck it, bring me Brandon Williams, who's played 30 meaningful games in the NBA. And honestly, were they even that meaningful? They traded Luka Doncic. They were tanking, basically.
I'm not taking Shaden Sharp, or everyone needs to tune out. If you want to hear us take Tari Eason or Anthony Black.
I had Tari in the graphic.
Yeah.
And we didn't even pick him.
Yeah, it was Jabari Walker. No, like, this isn't happening.
I will say this much: Jabari Walker. I've been like, why does everyone have an opinion on this guy? I didn't realize that he was like a really good combo of scoring and rebounding, and he had a plus defensive EPM as well. So I was like, all right, maybe the Sixers are cooking. I don't know. Like, maybe he is solid.
I think he is like good. I think he's like just fine though. You know what I'm saying? Like you just don't want to. It's going to depend on what that contract is when he like is up for his extension.
He's on a 2-way right now. So
oh
yeah, He's not even on an NBA contract.
Oh no, I was talking about talking about Jabari
Smith?
Yeah, the Houston. Jabari.
Oh, well, first off, he was a top 5 pick, so he's off.
Oh, that's right.
He already got the extension.
Did I misread your thing? I was like, wow, Trill's high on. No, because yeah, that makes sense. You wouldn't have put him on there. So it's Jabari Walker. Wow, yeah, I misread that.
Jabari Walker is the guy the Sixers have on a 2-way that everyone loved.
You're a pervert. You're a pervert.
No, I'm telling you, I literally just ran down a list of guys who average a certain amount of rebounds and a certain amount of points per 36.
Okay.
And he was like 16 and 10. And I was like, whoa, that's better than I expected.
Amazing. This is good. Okay. So am I up again?
You are up again.
Okay. I want to make sure that I can get this. I have some numbers. I have some stats to back up this pick, and I just want to make sure that I'm.
I was gonna say you go, I'll go, and then we'll have one. You have one more, and then that's it.
Okay, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This gentleman is the 8th best power forward in the NBA in PER. So like not quite an all-star there yet, but he's on his way up.
The perfect stat that even the creator says is just flawless.
Yes, it's good. It's good now. I mean, hey, the creator now gets to podcast with Nate Duncan, so
which is the greatest reward of all of them.
That's the greatest reward. I mean, that is really what Trill and I are kind of. We're like kind of a team of rivals here. We're kind of like this podcast is all just an exercise to see which one of us is going to catch Nate's eye.
The dunk on.
Yeah. This is like only one may leave. Like where we're kind of like Veronica Corningstone and Ron Burgundy from. That's a very Bill reference of me to make.
Well, we're just trying to be spies for Dunked On, so we can get into G's good graces. And
that would be amazing. And I would love to be a Nate Duncan,
on the inside.
Nate Duncan spy in China, reporting back to him about. We will find that Wuhan, it was orchestrated, sir. We will find you the evidence. But anyway, this guy is the 8th best power forward in the NBA by PER. Behind Giannis, Zion, Evan Mobley, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Paolo Banchero, and Rashawn Holmes, who snuck in there, but he's
Rashawn Holmes. He just signed in Europe.
Yeah, but he only played 31 games. Everyone else on this list only started 31 games. Everyone else on this list at least played 40, including Paolo. So I am, of course, taking the greatest player that we have. I kind of a joke that I left him.
Say the name.
Sandro Mamuka.
God damn it. I had him on the list.
Mamu, now again, really young player, a young 26 years old in 80 days at this point in time.
First off, I would be willing to put my life savings on the line here that the person behind this signing for the Toronto Raptors was Dean on draft.
I agree with you. And I think that Mamu could be
such a Dean guy, dude.
He's such a Dean guy. And by the way, we've pointed this out. While Dean's social commentary may not be the best,
he's pretty good at scouting.
He's a pretty good draft analyst, unfortunately. I know it frustrates some of our peers in draft Twitter, but he did kind of have Jokic. What did he have? Jokic 6 on his board, 12 on his board.
He had him 16, but still
really good.
He literally wrote in there, I haven't watched this guy at all, but he might. But I have to include him here because based on some stats I've read, he might have potential to be the greatest passing big of all time.
Cook.
I was what the fuck? What a call!
What a pull! He's crushed it a couple of times. Crazy VORP on a 0.7 VORP on a guy who doesn't play for a bad team is kind of crazy. I think I'm on record saying I think the Spurs are a bozo organization. I think that he should have basically been starting for them this whole time. Yeah. And he just hasn't. I'd dropping kayfabe in the bit a little bit. I do think he's genuinely a very good player.
Right. In 4 years so far in the NBA, per 36, he has averaged 16 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, only 1.6 turnovers. Now, is he very bad on defense? Yes. But he He shot 67.5% from 2-point range this last year.
He's like genuinely good. Like, and like, again, part of the reason I'm such a pervert for him is because like he really passes the eye test. Like when he's on the court and you play, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? Who is this guy who's cooking us? Like this demon out there. I do think Mamu is like a genuine demon. Now I'm worried that I don't think Darko's a good coach, and I'm worried that he's going to get buried just by virtue of how many insane, like we don't even know if fucking, Colin Murray Boyles is going to get like playing time. Like, how is Mamu going to get playing time in this? Like,
Dean is taking over halfway through the season. He's going to be coach.
Well, they should send Dean down to coach the team. That would be amazing. Dean would, first of all, he would teach all the guys about peacocking, and how to neg women. And then he would create one of the greatest 8-man rotations of all time you've ever seen. So.
Incel Scotty Barnes is going to be crazy, dude.
Dude, I was going to say, should you only play as the guys who don't fuck? Nobody don't want it. It's like the urine test. You are a bad teammate, but for semen retention. Anyway, forgot this wasn't a Patreon episode. Anyway, but like I just genuinely think like we're getting kind of near the end of this draft, and I was always going to take Mamu as like one of my like pet project guys. I think Mamu is like an NBA player. Is he an NBA starter? Maybe he could get there. I doubt it, but like I think he could at the bare minimum be like a rotation player in the NBA. So like I think he should be a rotation player in the NBA.
It does remind me a little bit of Boban, where like the per 36 numbers are crazy.
Yeah.
And the per is off the charts. And he's like got a fun name. But ultimately it is hard. It's hard when you're like that bad on defense.
He was whipping our ass, the NBA championship team, like with the one game I saw him in.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like, so I'm just, I think he's genuinely very good. Only problem here is now that he's signed with the Raptors, I just don't trust the Raptors to give him any playing time. I think that's actually probably the worst possible team he could have signed with in terms of playing time. But who knows? Maybe RJ Barrett gets traded and then he can kind of cook a little bit. But
yeah,
we'll see.
So all right, all right. I will include the rest of the guys that I considered that I did not take during this Star in Plain Sight draft. Okay. So we talked about Tari. Anthony Black was on the list. Jay Huff. He'll get a chance this year. Scottie Pippen Jr., who per 36, 17, 7, 5. Honestly, I probably should just take him. That's a pretty good one. I'm already taking too many Grizzlies, so I can't. 58 true shooting, 2.3 steals per 36 in his career as well. Only 24. He's going to get a chance this upcoming year. Pods was another one that I think has a chance, but probably needs to get much better as a shooter and a scorer.
I got to admit, I'm kind of souring on Pods a little bit. Yeah. I don't know if Pods' upside is there the way that I kind of thought it was before. So
Christian Brown, another one that I think is already kind of in an idealized role for him. But is very, very good in that role and might be like the fourth best player on a championship team next year.
Yeah.
Cam Johnson's better than him, but maybe the fourth most effective on that team.
Yeah.
These are some guys that I don't think I sent you that I think you're going to need to perk your ears up for. We already talked about Kyle Filipowski, so I'm not going to. How about for your Boston Celtics, Luka Garza?
People I was gonna say I'm willing to hear him out. You know, I'm willing to him and Minot.
All right. We don't have to talk about Minot.
Okay, well, I'm looking at both those guys. I'm keeping an eye on them. I'm just saying.
I mean, one of them might end up being decent. I don't know, but Garza was interesting. I thought it was funny looking at. He's barely ever played in the NBA, and he's also like 25 already. Not Julian Champagnie, but Justin Champagnie is like an incredible rebounder and efficient scorer. He can't play make for shit, but I was shocked to look at his numbers, and he might not even play for the Wizards next year, but he had to be mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
On a per minute basis, Mo Wagner comes up on like so many things, dude.
I think I'm going to be honest. Like, I think Mo Wagner's like good, like genuinely kind of good. Like,
he was like a demon at getting to the line. His scoring efficiency was off the charts. He's a really good rebounder. The problem is he has the same problem where he's just a bad defensive big.
Yeah.
And if you're a bad defensive big, it's just hard to become a starter, like, and get past, like, you know, he's probably just like in the Naz Reid mold, the back of the good backup big style guy. I did include this guy just because I morally cannot put Kevin Porter Jr. on the list again because I had him on the first one, and it's gross. But he is probably going to be the best on ball guard for the Bucks next year, which is something.
Yikes.
And then this is also another funny one. Mogbo,
Let's go. Dread.
not good enough at scoring, but his potential assists per 100 were crazy. And Kev had a stat about who he's one of the best quick decision assist guys in the league. Really good with at rim assists as well. He's already pretty old and he's not nearly good enough at scoring, but the passing and the defense are very good for him.
Well, and the good news is that he's on a team that has a lot of playing minutes for forwards and sorry, what is that? Who does Fogbo play for? Why? God, that team makes me mad, dude. Fuck their team. Get rid of your guys. Just be normal. Be a normal team. Anyway,
seriously, I need to give an honorable mention to both of the deep point guards on the Suns. Both Jared Butler, my guy, and Colin Gillespie.
You're a pervert.
I can't. On a per possession, it's so funny because all these per possession numbers I've always loved Jared Butler, and then I watched him and I was like, okay, I was wrong. I was just like, no, like he's fine. He's just like a fourth guard. Like he's nothing more than that. But once again, I'm going to go pervert mode. Like I said, I'm choosing a player who is way off the board. That no one would have considered because he's also old. And I'm actually, you know what? Should I go with the old guy or should I go with the decently young guy? So the old guy I was going to say was Najee Marshall, who I've loved forever. Yeah. He's 27, 28. But he is like,
I kind of get that one. Like he's kind of got a little bit of off the bounce juice, like he's got more like
his driving stats creation. He was one of the best driving wings at scoring this year. He also averages like, I want to say 3.5 assists per 36 or 4. Like he is, or 4 assists per 36. I mean,
let's keep it a buck. That would be a better pick than the last like 5 picks we've made.
Like, he's just too old is the problem. And once again, it's not like we really cared about that, but
right.
And Najee, the thing I like Najee is he's kind of Tari coded in that like he can go bozo mode a lot, but he's already 27 and he turns 28 this season, so I won't pick him. I'm gonna go with someone who's near and dear to my heart that will get a chance, but it's going to be tough because they have a ton of guards and he hasn't been healthy since he got traded to this team. But let's go with my guy, Trey Mann. Let's go. Trey Mann. Still 24. I loved him in the draft. Is the league fading his entire archetype? Yes. Does that mean that I'm going to stop loving him? No, because Trey Mann is... I made a mistake. I'm going to go with Najee Marshall instead. Just go with Najee Marshall.
That's what I'm talking about. I've never heard that where you like committed to a guy, started the bit, and just were like, I've made a huge mistake, and then just rewound it.
I'm looking at his per 36 stats, and I'm like, these aren't even that good. Like, 15 for a guard, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. The thing about Trey Mann that I love, the issue is that he cannot get to the line at all. And that's just almost a death sentence for a guard. But the thing I love is he's like an 80% creates his own offense guy. But ultimately, I know his handle's really good and he's a good shooter, but like he's probably just going to fall into like that like Diet Anthony Simons category where he's just not quite good enough. He's just not good enough inside as a guard to become a star. Like you have to be legitimately like a generational shooter to get to that level, even though he's got like a really good handle and stuff. He's an okay playmaker. He's not like a great one. But yeah, let's just go with Najee Marshall for fun because I think it would be really funny if Najee Marshall broke out and had us, even though he's 28. Yeah, no, I think I included every single person I had on this list. So, before we get out of here, do you want to talk about, football?
Yeah, I want to hear. I think we should tail Bill real quick here at the end. Give everyone a little treat. I want to hear your top 10 quarterbacks, because that's what Bill did on the pod today.
All right. Well, I haven't really thought about this that much. Hold on, I'm sitting down because I've been standing for 2 hours. Let me just adjust here real quick.
Trill's got to. We got to give Trill. Now that the real podcasting is done, we're doing some like extra podcasting.
Yeah. Right, well, fuck it. I'm not. Whatever. Doesn't matter. My top 10 quarterbacks. Well, the 4 are obvious. Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
So you go Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar, Joe Burrow.
By the way, Bill put Josh Allen 1.
I know. I listened to it. I heard it.
Which I would like. I don't think is like that crazy, but the fact that Bill did it was very bizarre to me, because that's the opposite of what he's always been about. Like,
right.
I thought that was very strange.
Well, his whole thing is, well, it's not Josh Allen's fault they lost, and while he's not necessarily wrong, he was good, but like he had the chance to beat Mahomes for the 4th time, and he didn't. And like. If this were Brady versus X quarterback, even if Brady shit his pants in the Super Bowl, he would never make the argument.
No,
there would just never be a world where he would freak out if someone did that. Like he would freak out if people put Peyton Manning over Tom Brady. No, okay, maybe not Peyton Manning, because Peyton Manning was, even though although he probably was big on that, like Peyton sucks in the playoffs, so you can't really. Yeah. And honestly, Peyton was really bad. Even the years they won, like his numbers are not that great. Like if you go and look at them, he pretty much was. I don't know if I can go this far, because he was like legitimately the GOAT in the regular season. I was going to say James Harden, but like it might be a little bit too harsh on Peyton, because Peyton did have a chance to revenge himself and like rewrite his legacy and stuff. Yeah. And Harden never did.
He did. Peyton did go to the Peyton Manning did go to the Super Bowl twice on like teams he was carrying. So
3 times he went to 3 Super Bowls. He lost to.
Well, the Broncos one is like
he got carried. Yeah, for sure.
But the Broncos one is a little. I was saying his Colts ones.
Sure.
Were like yeah.
So
those 4 are pretty obvious.
Those 4 are stamped. I'm obviously going to put Jalen in there.
I would agree with that,
because of the Super Bowl and how he turned things around in the playoffs and how great he's been in big moments. I definitely put CJ Stroud in there, even though CJ had a weird season last year. I still think he kind of acquitted himself a little bit in the playoffs. After having a weird regular season. I definitely put Jaden Daniels in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Jaden Daniels is probably the one that has the best chance to jump up into that top 4 group.
I would agree. Yeah.
He was literally the best rookie quarterback I've seen since like
RG. You have to go back to like RG3 and Andrew
Luck. Yeah. I was gonna say, probably that season. Yeah. And then, all right, so that's 7. That's 7. And then I'd go. The problem is that like, I think a lot of these guys are either one of system merchants or they are old and aging. Like I would put Stafford in here, but like Stafford's back is fucked up, and like
he's getting light frequencies. He's getting different types of light. Did you see that? Did you see Richard's post?
No.
So he showed. Oh my god, dude, you have to go. All right, everyone has to go look at this. So there's this like company called like Assurance or something. I forget the name of the company. They pulled up this trailer with like to the Rams practice with like a medical device.
Okay.
And it's like the medical device is in the trailer delivering this treatment to him. And Richard pulled up some of the promotional materials from the company. And it's like a fucking like chair that looks like it's from like, it's like a clear plastic chair that looks like it's from like Dave & Buster's. And they're explaining what it does. And it's saying that it uses all the different types of energy, all the different types of wonderful energies to energize your back. And it's like sound energies, light energies. Dude, I swear to God, it's like one of the most unreal things. Go to a friend of the pod at Richard Normal. Go to his Twitter and watch the video, dude. It's fucking unreal. And he tweeted it like, this is definitely a real company. But anyway, he's getting all of the wonderful light treatments in this trailer to try to recover from his back issues, which is crazy.
So so I would have included Stafford before I knew that information. I would have included Stafford after last season, but like the combo of his body starting to fall apart at the end of last year combined with the back stuff, like I have a hard time believing that he's going to be a top 10 quarterback again this year.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. No, and he's just been getting old for a while. Him being good last year was, I thought, a little bit of an outlier. He's always been kind of I don't know. He's been good, but he's always been like kind of a durability merchant type guy who's like, you never know if he's going to.
Well, he had a bad context forever, and then he finally got a good context, and then he got old. Like he had one amazing all-time season, and he won the Super Bowl. And I think that he's been one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the NFL for the last decade. Like he's very clearly been in that group. It's just he's probably been closer to the latter half.
See, and I think that's true what you just said, but the whole point with this exercise is I'm like realizing how bad quarterbacks are.
Quarterbacks are not great right now. It's honestly like, well, I would say like the average quarterback is better. Like you can get to like 19 and still have like, I think I saw Geno Smith and Trevor Lawrence like in that range on those. And everyone knows I've never been a Trevor Lawrence guy, but I'm kind of doing the Sam Sheehan thing where you fade a guy. And then now he's getting ranked like 17th to 19th. And I'm like, all right, maybe we overreacted a little bit.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I did, so the 8, 9, 10 guys, I know you hate Herbert. I would have Herbert in there.
I know. Well, this is where I came down on this is I was like Herbert, because Bill was like throwing Herbert out, but then I heard Dak Prescott's name and I was like, well, Justin Herbert's better than Dak Prescott. Like, come on.
Well, Dak's Julius Randle though. Every other year, Dak is good. That's his thing is that I'm not even kidding. Look at his stats. He was bad last year, really good the year before, bad the year before. My thing with Dak is just like, I know what I'm getting with him, where it's like Dak and Goff are in the same tier of quarterback to me, where it's like, you can be the best quarterback in the NFL in the regular season, and I do not give a fuck. Like, it does not matter to me at all. Herbert's still young enough that I think he has time to kind of figure that out. And like he played like 1.5 bad playoff games that he can kind of turn things around and figure that out maybe over the course of time. The craziest stat to me is that Herbert threw more interceptions in the playoffs than he did in the entire regular season in one game last year. He had 4 interceptions and he threw 3 in the regular season. So yeah, I'd have Herbert as in my top 8 for sure. And then I mean, just because I don't feel confident about the other quarterbacks, I'd probably still have Goff and Dak in there.
Goff and Dak. How about like the guys you didn't mention were Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, and Brock Purdy.
I mean, Baker was really good last year, but I don't know how sustainable that is. Mm-hmm. I would have Brock Purdy in there. So I would. Yeah. My thing is like with Dak and Goff, like I know they're going to be top 8 quarterbacks in the regular season, but like when it gets to the playoffs, like I literally would never want either of those guys on my team.
Well, I guess that's the thing is I'm kind of playoffs filled with like quarterbacks, like in some of the things.
They've also had so many chances at this point. It's not like like they've had 1 or 2. Like it's like every time they get past the first round in the playoffs, they shit their pants. I think Goff had 1 good game past the first round in his career.
I can't believe the fact that there are demons out there walking around supporting Jared Goff, saying that he's a better quarterback than Justin Herbert is
how could they?
Disgusting. That's disgusting.
Horrible.
That happens. So.
But no, I'd probably. I don't know. I don't really see it with Jordan Love like other people do.
Thank you.
Everyone says that he was just hurt last year, and I'm like, okay, well, he's in year 5 and he's played well for half a season. To me, it's very reminiscent of the Trevor Lawrence thing, but at least Trevor Lawrence was a top pick and like had an illustrious college career and all this stuff. But like Jordan Love is like 26, 27, right? Like what has he done outside of that one stretch to kind of warrant the praise that is heaped upon him?
That's my football nerd one that drives me crazy is like people like they're always like, yeah, I think the Packers could like be in the Super Bowl. And I'm like, no, they won't.
No.
No, they won't. Like, I'm sorry, that's never gonna happen. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
They've been kind of the darling the last 2 or 3 years, and then every year it's just something happens that
it's like the trendy football nerd pick.
Love at least did have 2 good playoff games, if you want to make that argument. Like, he was great in the Dallas game that year. And then he was pretty good in the San Francisco game and they lost. But yeah, I wouldn't put him. I don't think he's top 10. Like, to me, he doesn't have I'm a little bit boomer pilled when it comes to the NFL, and I do think that I think some of the stuff that drives me crazy about the NFL or the NBA stuff, like the pedigree and stuff like that, I probably carry over a little bit to the NFL. And yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't have Jordan Love in my top 10. I honestly think that there's an argument that Geno Smith's just as good as him.
I totally agree. Geno Smith was boss this year. I mean, we're about to find out, right? Because is Pete Carroll the coach of the Raiders now? Did I remember that correctly? That's crazy. I mean, we'll find out. That team is ass. Like, if Geno Smith can make that team good,
I was shocked to learn that Joe Flacco is the starting quarterback for the Browns.
Maybe we'll find out. It's like they've got a packed QB room. Shedeur Sanders.
That is just here's the thing. I was a little bit lower on Shedeur in general than his biggest fans, but it is just racism to have him behind Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco. Even Dylan Gabriel, maybe you could make the argument. I think Sanders is going to be a better pro quarterback than Gabriel, but there is what is the upside with Flacco and Pickett, dude? We've watched both of them suck ass for it has to be Shedeur has to one of Gabriel or Shedeur has to start. You have to give one of the young guys because you're gonna suck anyway. At least try to get salvage something from this season.
Develop it. You're paying a sex criminal allegedly $1 billion. Is it even alleged? Yeah. I don't know. Again,
I don't know. I think he settled out of court.
Whatever. Yeah. The guy who very innocently settled out of court. You're paying that guy $1 billion and his knee keeps exploding because of karma. Why not just use these years to develop your quarterback? You're dead on arrival anyway. Who cares?
Totally agree. Yeah.
They're the worst.
No, once again, why when it comes to the quarterback thing, there's definitely you could probably get to 20 and be Bo Nix, and you're Bo Nix is pretty good last year.
I think Bo Nix is top 15, maybe. And Drake May are kind of knocking on the door, a little bit, of being top half.
No comment on Drake May.
You wait. Just you wait.
I've seen what I need to see. All I'll say is I think that the Carson Wentz thing is very appropriate.
I was gonna ask if the Carson. That was an MVP. That's good, right? Huh?
Well, if it's 2017 Carson Wentz, you'd be very happy with that. I mean, 2017 Carson Wentz was a very good regular season quarterback. But also it proved to be pretty unsustainable. I kind of look at Drake May and Caleb Williams from last year, and I'm willing to just throw out rookie seasons.
Our offensive line was so bad,
dude. But also, I think that Caleb's got to do something this year.
Sure, he's got a better team. He's definitely got a better. Both of them have much better situations. Ben Johnson's their quarterback.
Caleb has been trending down for 2 years. That's the thing that doesn't really get discussed with him. He was very underwhelming his last year in college. And we look past it because he's so talented, but the peak of his career so far was his junior year of school or sophomore, whatever it was, his second year. When he was at USC that 1 year. And since then he's been kind of erratic. And this, to me, it's tough when I know Jaden Daniels is much older than I think both of them. But Jaden was so good as a rookie that you're that turns the pressure up. As if you didn't already have enough pressure going to Chicago where they never can develop quarterbacks, number 1 overall pick, talked about this crazy pedigree kind of guy to me, that he's the one that is under the most pressure of all these young quarterbacks of like really having to prove it this next year.
I'm also out on CJ for very petty reasons because he ruined my fantasy team. Yeah, last year. That's like how Bill is still mad at the Eagles for costing him gambling money last year, and he carried it all through last year and kept picking against them and lost more money.
I kept it all throughout the playoffs. I was like, why is he doing this? I was like, I was like, the Eagles are very obviously the best team. And every week he's like, I don't know. I'm like, you just did this when they made the Super Bowl 2 years ago. What are you doing? You literally picked the Giants over them.
He hates them so much, dude. He said that he was saying that the Bills might have been the best team.
I think he was talking about the AFC. I do think that the context of that argument was that they were better than the Chiefs, which I don't think was necessarily, I don't think it was necessarily wrong, but I also think that what he was saying, like they were Josh Allen merchants. I was saying that the whole playoffs last year.
Yeah.
I was like, look at their roster. The Chiefs have more talent on their roster.
Yeah. The Chiefs defense was so much better than the Bills.
Yeah. And I was like, on paper, the Bills, on paper, the Chiefs defense is way better. Like they just have way more talent. And the Eagles manhandling of the Chiefs has made people have a little bit of confirmation bias about how they feel about the Chiefs. But like the Eagles were not that the Chiefs weren't motivated. Obviously, you're in the Super Bowl, you're going for a three-peat, but like the Eagles were literally loaded, had incredible health, were the best roster up and down. The quarterback played one of the best games of his career. The defense was unbelievable. And they picked at the weak point of the Chiefs over and over and over again. Like, look, that
was like a perfect storm of just ass kicking.
Yes,
like,
exactly. Yeah. It was very reminiscent of the Seahawks Broncos Super Bowl.
Yeah,
where it was just like the Broncos were a legitimately good team. They had happened to run into a freight train that was peaking at the right time. Yeah. And who do you think is gonna what is your pick this upcoming year? Just early picks. I'm curious.
So that's what I'm thinking about. Well, because because my follow-up question to you was going to be, because this is kind of how I feel. I do think, maybe this is wish casting, I do think that the Chiefs are finally like dead next year. I think we have our first non-Chiefs AFC championship game next year.
I agree with that, but it's only due to the fact that Kelsey's so old and that they might have a little bit of a step back year.
And Mahomes, I kind of agree with some of what Bill was saying, that it was a little bit alarming that Mahomes wasn't really Mahomes for like this pretty much the entire second half of the year. Like, he's still very good. Like, he
was in the playoffs until the Super Bowl though. Like, and that's the thing is like he 90% of Mahomes game. Once again, I hate to give credit to Ben Solak, but he kind of cooked after the Super Bowl. When Brady and Mahomes played, he was like, I think people need to get Tom Brady out of their head, because Tom Brady might not have peaked at the highest of peaks in the way that like some other guys will have like a 7 touchdown game and it's like 500 yards or whatever. And and honestly, Brady probably even had those kind of games, but his whole point was basically like, there will never be a quarterback as consistent as Tom Brady again. Where it's like Brady was just like a maniacal psycho who controlled the game. And by the time he was in his late career was like never really fucked up, basically. And he was like the other quarterbacks, even the better ones like Mahomes and Lamar and Josh Allen, will just have much more variance from game to game, where like they might have the game where they look like the greatest quarterback of all time. And then they're going to have duds occasionally. And Mahomes has had 2 duds in his career. They both happened to come in the Super Bowl, but he was legitimately, outside of those 2 games, the best quarterback on the field every other game he played in, basically in the playoffs. Yeah. So that's the thing. It's like, I do think people need to like pause on like the Mahomes overreaction, but I also think that the Chiefs are just, I haven't been like super into like everything that's been happening in the NFL, but it does feel like they're bound to take a step back, and like the AFC is going to be really good next year.
I was just going to say, I think,
and the NFC is going to be weak. Like that. The thing
I
is,
think the Eagles are just going to kind of make the Super Bowl again by default, unless there's injuries. I think kind of
they're not going to have the same health luck. They're already starting to see it with Landon Dickerson, who just tore his meniscus and is going to have to get surgery. He'll be back at some point, but like they will not have the same health luck as last year. That was about as good of health luck as you can possibly get. But the NFC is like the Lions lost Ben Johnson, and they're one of their best offensive linemen just randomly retired.
Yeah. Their line is just worse. And like
the Cowboys are a mess. Washington, McLaurin is holding out still.
I think they have don't they have another guy holding out too? Like one of their there's like I think there might be someone else holding out on that squad too. The Bears are not gonna be like ready. The Packers are like we just talked about the Packers, like they're kind of fraudulent. I do think the 49ers could be like kind of back because they kind of had like a year from hell last year. Like they could be like pretty good when they come back, but like, you know, is there anyone in the NFC South that scares you? I guess like the Buccaneers,
the Bucks, the Bucks are the most talented. So the Bucks, to me, like the Rams, the Stafford, like that's huge. Yeah. I just think that there will be a team that will like overperform and like maybe put a scare into the Eagles, but like the team that came the closest to beating them last year was the Rams, and they're almost certainly going to take a step back if Stafford isn't Stafford. So I just kind of look at it as like the Eagles should be the favorites by default. Even though their past, one thing I don't want to under index here is even though they still have a ton of talent and they have more, Sirianni's coming back and they kept most of the staff in house going into next year. The one thing is they always suck after they're in the Super Bowl. Like they every year they have a setback year after the Super Bowl. Like they're usually one of the lower seeds, but they also haven't had this much talent return, and like they replenish talent in the draft. So I mean, once again, they should be the favorites, but it's very funny having them won the title. Like I feel like I was more excited for last year because I was like, it's the unknown of it all. You know what I mean? Like the unknown of like, oh man, could they really? And then they won, and I was like, okay, like I'm not used to them winning in such dominant fashion. Because even the first year was like a little bit of a surprise.
It gets a little bit less fun, like with every successful, like you know, like the first year is always the most fun, but for sure,
like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, going back, being the only non Chiefs and Patriots team to go back to back would be really cool though, because those are the only two teams since 2000 that have gone back to back. I think
you get like a little like mini dynasty. You know what? 3 and what is that? 7 years,
7 or 8. It would be 3 and 8.
Okay.
And then 4 Super Bowl appearances in 8 years.
It's pretty good. That's like, that's a little mini, a little mini run. AFC, I just have no idea what to do with that. I have no idea if the Bengals are going to be good, like at all. Like
they're not. Their defense is horrendous. Dude, Tanner McKee was playing against some of their starters the other night. And I think Tanner McKee's like probably one of the, if not the best backup, one of the best backups in the NFL.
Yeah.
He was literally like Peyton Manning in that game. I was like, this is going to be a very long season for the Bengals again.
If the Bengals aren't good, then like, I think the AFC West might be kind of a wagon like this year a little bit.
AFC is going to be so fucking good this year. It's kind of crazy. And honestly, what's funny is that they've kind of been overrated for years because they just have the better quarterbacks. Yeah. But I do feel like they're very obviously the better conference this
upcoming season. The Bills and Ravens are going to be like nails again. Like those teams are always good. I think the Broncos are probably going to be like really good. I think the Chargers will be like competent, but like the Chiefs are the Chiefs. You're still going to have Mahomes. I would not be surprised to see the Texans all of a sudden be like a 12-win team. Like if like they just, if just CJ, if he's just normal, like just be normal, then like I think they could like kind of take a little bit of like a mini leap.
Last official thing before we get out of here. Did you see the thing earlier in the season with Shamar Stewart from the Bengals and how the Bengals were basically trying to like take guarantees out of his rookie contract and that he was holding out to sign his first round rookie contract, and that he threatened to go back to Texas A&M, which apparently like to me, I think that's just like karmic. Like you'll never win anything.
Yeah.
Because you're so fucking cheap and so insane that you like What is you're only going to upset your players. You're setting a horrible standard for the rest of the league. Like,
the NFL Players Union needs to get their shit together, man.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy that they like.
He finally,
I know we make
won.
fun of the
He won, but yeah, he got his money.
But they try to do stuff like that. I feel like it feels like every year something like that is like going on. Like
absolutely,
those guys have like $17 of guaranteed money like every year.
It's crazy, dude.
Their contracts are like, yeah, you get $6,000 guaranteed, and then if you blow out your Achilles, like you've made less money than fucking somebody would at fucking Shop and Stop. Like it's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, totally agree. All right, we'll be back later this week. We're gonna do
we're watching, folks. We're observing.
2016 NBA draft.
2016 NBA draft. We're going back.
Ben Simmons draft, baby. Let's go. We're going all the way back 9 years. And then I'll let people vote on the last draft that we watched this offseason, because I think we'll do one more after that.
Okay.
And we either do 2017 or we let people pick a classic draft.
Okay, real quick, because I know some of you aren't on the Patreon, and this will probably get some of you to sign up for the Patreon. A sentence that Trill said in the Discord earlier today was, I was watching the 1993 draft. Just something that Trill just said
on Saturday, on a Saturday afternoon.
Yes.
I literally was just like, I don't have anything to do right now, and I threw on the 1993 NBA draft and I watched it. By the way, maybe that will be the classic that we watch. There's a handful of classics on YouTube that you can access. An absolutely perverted moment by me, I know, but at some point we're gonna have to do the worst trades of all time draft, and the Penny Hardaway Chris Webber trade has got to be very, very high on that list.
Yeah, it's not good.
They got lucky that those picks didn't turn into much. Yeah. But man, that fucking and Penny also got hurt, obviously. But masterful trade from the Magic back in the early 90s before slop was slop. They knew what was going on.
They knew how to slop back in the day. When that was what was up. So all right,
let's get it.
Peace.